All right. See if I can bring that sound balance down. And I'll drop that there. Hey guys, how you doing? Let me check my sound balance here real fast, just to make sure everything sounds okay. Yeah, sounds pretty good. I'm going to stop the music for a hot second. Yeah, the music's back there. I think I can afford to be a little bit louder, just for the funs. So let me push that up, maybe to there. Let me anyone that jumps in the channel, if this volume for the music in the background is annoying, let me know and we'll take steps to fix it. We're going to work on Bastions today. The Bastion Campaign supplement that we are building for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition using the new 2024 mechanics from the Dungeon Master's Guide. We're expanding Bastions to, instead of being a hideout with some limited freebie options, we've built out a campaign system that's like a Civ 4 sort of resource gathering to create magic items, craft materials, and trade for like components or whatever it is that you need, as well as a settlement system using the same ideas from the Bastion to harvest materials that can be used for crafting. So a Bastion facility, like a blacksmith shop or a workshop, can take materials that are produced and convert them into items that can be crafted, non-magical items, magical items, spell components, structures and locations. My background's a little yonky today. Let me see if I can fix that up a little bit. I had a little bit of I have this little plushy invertible little little cuttlefish here, but I put it on top of my camera like a hat because I think it cuts down, because I have overlight coming in. I think it helps cut down on the overhead, so you can see where its little tentacle is blocking my view. There, I can tilt that up a little bit. That generally keeps the proverbial sun out of the camera's eye, and I think it helps stabilize me a little bit better. But yeah, so we're going to be building Bastions today inside of the settlements that we've already created previously. Let me go ahead and adjust my screen here. Cool. So you guys can see what I'm doing today now. And if you're interested, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon for notifications when we're live in the future. Just to plug my stuff, I publish on the DMsGuild for D&D. Here's a bunch of books that I've created. They all have free previews. The Spelljammer combat mechanics that we built for using 5e style action economy in ship combat at the 50 and 500 foot scale, or squadrons of ships or fleets of ships. We have those mechanics all broken down, and those are all here in the Spelljammer Combat and Exploration document here. I don't think we're going to be getting into that today. Hey, how you doing, Steve? But I believe by I think later on this week we will. So keep an eye out for that, because we're just about done with building the Bastions in the asteroid settlements. Once we have all the significant ones fleshed out, we can go back around and we can start building more kaiju to fight with our mecha. Make sure that we have all the mechanics built out that we need for the mecha for a proper playtesting. Make sure the Dwarven Citadel, which is our carrier ship, is properly equipped and built out. And then we'll also be building more kaiju to fight them with, because it's a kaiju mecha campaign. And then we'll be building out simple maps and visuals for the different asteroids that have communities that we've fleshed out using this Bastion system. So that's our order. Our order of operations that we're going to be following, and I anticipate getting through all of that basically 2 days a week through January, and then with any luck in February we'll be able to launch this campaign as a playtest campaign on my Discord server from level 5 to 14, and it'll probably take 8 months to do it. So from February to October, if we can have people showing up consistently each week, we'll be able to run the campaign as a Bastion campaign, where the characters control these bastions or these settlements and make decisions and create complications, and then create adventures from those complications for them to go resolve. So it's going to be basically a randomly generated campaign with the plot and troubles triggering off of things that the players tried to do with these bastions, and how their characters respond to the cascading consequences of them. So it's a very Dominion style, first edition BX Beckme sort of play, in that you have this Dominion, or this domain that you are in command of, and then that generates adventures for your characters. So we'll go from low level into mid tier, just to get a feel for it. Yeah, so good times. The documents that we use the campaign workbench here, which is where we're actually building out the campaign. We have all the moons of Eberron in orbit that our ships are flying. The work in progress for the mecha that we've developed for our characters here at 5th level. We've got 1st rank through 5th rank is level 1, 5, 9, 13, 17. We also use 5 ranks for the bastions that we develop. So depending on the rank of your mecha workshop, the word I'm looking for is hangar bay. Thank you. Your mecha hangar bay, which is one of the facilities that we developed on the Dwarven Citadel to house, repair, and modify mecha. The rank of the mecha hangar bay is going to determine the size of mecha that it's capable of servicing. So at 5th level, 2nd rank, we'll be starting off with 20-foot mecha, and then we'll get up to 40-foot mecha. And the number of modifications that you can place on the mecha is also based on the rank. At 2nd rank, we can have 3 modifications. The modifications can be up to 2nd rank in power on the half casting. There is a half casting scale from 1 to 5, but we only go up to 4 ranks. So you basically cap out in what can be done by level 13 in this system, but you can upcast it so that at 17th level you're basically overcharging the things that you're spending mana or power stone or whatever it is on them. They get bigger, so their hit point pool gets larger, and their damage scales up with size as well. So chugga. If it was 100 feet in size, it'd be 10 times. This is like 4 times the die that you would roll. It's like a two-handed a two-handed sword does 2d6 damage. So it'd be 10d6. At this size it'd be 6d6 damage. At 50 feet it'd be 10d6 damage, or a d6 times 10 if you'd rather. Your choice. At 100 feet, it's times 10, so it'd be 20 times d6 for a 100-foot two-handed greatsword. So here's the mods that you can purchase. Again, these are just open mods that are all available, like at 1st rank, that are available for characters to pull from. The mods, each one of them durable, it doubles your hit points. The mana amplifier allows you to cast spells at the 50-foot scale instead of the 5-foot scale in combat. Now, so you can fight mecha and kaiju at this larger scale, like out in space or among asteroids, or God willing, not in a city. Powers, you can shoot. We have a list of powers in the actual mecha book, not here, but in the actual mecha book. We have a list of maybe about 80 powers that you can pick that scale from 1 to 4. So every time you pick up a mod, at 2nd rank, we can pick up a 2nd or 1st rank mod for each power for each mod that we spend. Eldritch Cannon basically creates energy bolt, Eldritch Blasts that deal 2d8 damage. Integrated tools are 50-foot, or in this case 20-foot scale Tinker tools and Thief lockpicks, so that you can operate like if you're using your mecha to infiltrate giant strongholds. Instead of 5-foot squares, like if you're fighting fire and cloud giants, instead of at the 5-foot scale, you'd be operating at the 20-foot scale. Since your mecha and all of the giants that you would be fighting would fit inside of a 20-foot space, you just upscale the castle to the 20-foot scale and you're good to go. If you get larger mecha dealing with bigger, badder things, you can scale up to the 50-foot scale or 100-foot scale. 500-foot scale for like the Dwarven Citadel that we're using. I'm sitting here talking about the mecha when this is supposed to be about Bastions today. So, sorry, major tangent, but that's the whole point of the campaign is playtesting mecha fighting kaiju. And we're building it inside of the Bastion campaign, and just to connect some dots here for you guys. if we go and here's the Eberron orbit, here's all the moons, here's all the spaces between the orbits of the paths of the moons. There's all these orbital clusters, all these asteroids and rock fields and ice fields and stuff. And the asteroids are influenced by the moons on either side of them. Like where we're at right here, we have Fernia, the plane of fire, here, and we have Frisia, the plane of ice, here. So between those two things is the clash between fire and ice. So that's where our characters' communities are located here. It's here. You are here. Here's Fernia and here's Frisia. So zooming in, this is the 10,000 mile square space, and the airships that we're using for this campaign, their maximum speed per day is 10,000 miles. So hex crawl style, you can move 1 square per day between these different locations. So if we zoom into where we start the campaign here, each of these squares is 500 miles. Mecha can travel 1,000 miles per day, while the Spelljammer, 1,000 miles per day. So that means that they can move 2 squares per day, while the vessel, the Dwarven carrier ship, can move 10 squares per day. So, 10,000 miles per day, it can move 20 squares. So it can move 1 square per hour, while the Mecha can move 1 square every 12 hours of continuous flight. So big difference between Mecha and the carrier ship, the Dwarven Citadel, that acts as the hangar bay to deploy Mecha. And it's also bristling with siege weapons to fight Kaiju. So like the XCOM, if you know the XCOM game, or like XCOM 2, it's a tactical game where you build squads of characters that go and fight monsters. And it's all about positioning and getting cover and like doing crossfire and sniper fire and AoE and targeting and using cover to block shots against you with like these laser weapons that are coming at you. And you go from mission to mission on Earth. There's a map of Earth, and you're flying this carrier, like this air carrier, to deploy your troops to fight these monsters at different locations in the world. So at any given time, when you finish a mission, you zoom back out to the world map, and it's like, what's our next mission going to be? And whatever you think is most important, or whatever kind of benefits are there, or resources you can gather to do things on your carrier ship, you go to that location to take care of that threat and collect those resources. But you don't know where a threat's going to appear. So when we build and run the campaign, I will be randomly rolling where different kaiju are going to attack during this Bastion turn, which lasts a week. So there'll be at least one kaiju attack each week. There could be multiple. And the team it takes an hour per square to move between these different locations. So it will be like a D10 that will roll to see how many hours it takes for the kaiju to finish its business and leave. And if you can get there and fight the kaiju and drive it away before that timer expires, you prevent it from dealing any damage to the settlement that it's at. So we've been building out what each of these settlements are and what kind of things they can provide to the characters if they take interest in them. There's a potion emporium over here in Felltower. No, over here there's a druid grove, so they can take advantage of sanctuary resources there. There's a potion the Polly's Potion Emporium here at this is Far Hope. She can churn out shitloads of healing potions that the team can use in combat with the kaiju that they're fighting. And being 5th level, if they can keep chugging potions, they can outscale damage and not have to worry about it. So that's going to be an important resource to them. There's all sorts of metal materials here and here that'll be needed for them to build bigger mecha when they get to 9th level. So each of these locations have resources and basically meta items and like magic items and all sorts of stuff that the players will find useful during the campaign. So if a kaiju, say, attacks Far Hope, and here we have a colossal-sized cloaker using sonic attacks to deafen people in town. And so if this place, if they aren't able to fend off a kaiju attack from here in time, then Polly's Emporium will be destroyed. So you won't be able to get any more healing potions until you can repair the shop. So that now becomes an objective to make sure she has the resources to rebuild the factory so you can restock your potion supply. So each of the locations have different things that'll be of value and interest to the characters that the players can get involved with, because you're basically the deputies of the town. So if you wanted to go to, say, over here, I forget the name of this, Cragfall, I think. Crag Falls, I think is what this is called. It's an electrum mine, right? But it also has like a lot of smithies and workshops there. So if the team wants to build magic items that require a, like say an armory, blacksmith, and or workshop, they can go there and spend downtime there, which means if there's a kite, because you can do one downtime activity and have adventuring in your community at the same time. So you have that flow, because you're not constantly fighting monsters for a whole week. You got to go out and fight a monster occasionally, then come back home and do whatever. So if everyone decides to hang out on this rock for their downtime activity this week, and something happens at Far Hope, that's going to be 1, 2, 3. That's 4 squares away. So if I roll a 1, 2, or 3 on the 10-sided die, they're not going to be able to get there in time, and it has to defend itself, which is basically a skill check to see if they're able to, essentially a saving throw, to see if they're able to ward off effects themselves with what limited weapons they have. Maybe they'll succeed, maybe they'll fail. If they succeed, cool. Didn't need to worry about it. Good job, guys. If they fail, the potion factory and some other things will be disabled that will require time to be repaired before you can use them again. Coffee. So that's what we're cycling through. Each settlement has unique facilities, guilds, religions, like churches, structures that are of value to the players if they tap into them. So we have been going through the process of building these different things, and we're going to use the Bastion Campaign work in progress, which is right here. Bastion Campaigns. I'm going to drop that into this folder here. I'm going to pull out the Kaiju Spelljammer Eberron campaign documents. Oop, my phone's going off. That's my 20-minute timer. Make sure I stay on track. So that was a 20-minute intro into what we were doing. We're going to use the Bastion Campaign book. Again, these are all, the Spelljammer book's already published on the DMsGuild, but it's a free preview as a PDF. If you want to support these works and see more of this stuff built, please buy some of my stuff. If you're playing D&D, you'll probably love it. But here's the Bastion Campaign and the campaign workbench that we're building for the Eberron Orbital campaign. These are both read-only documents to you guys, but again, once we publish these things, there'll be PDFs on the DMsGuild, and they'll have a full, all my books always have free preview. So I just appreciate people looking at them. If they want to give me money as a thank you, then thank you. Otherwise, like, subscribe, join my Patreon if you want. My Discord is free. Tag in, sign up. Lean into what we're doing if you're interested. So we're going to use the Bastion Campaigns document to create the bastions in the communities. And let me fix this screen so it stays out of the way for me there. And now I won't have any odd chance of grabbing it because I dropped it down so low. So we have 2 unique guild structures that we need to build inside of the of this bastion before we're done. We already rolled that it's going to be the structure is going to basically be oriented towards a smithy, and we're going to have another one that's a sacristy. So we can go, and we already know we have a teleportation circle, but it was destroyed, and we don't currently have any hirelings to be able to operate the teleportation circle. They have a line on potentially getting somebody hired for this, but it hasn't come through yet. They don't have the lifestyle of the Bastion that oversees the teleportation circle isn't a high enough standard of lifestyle to attract the level of NPCs needed to operate the teleportation circle. But once they do, this will become a location that the players are going to be interested in because it's a fucking teleportation circle. They can fit their mecha through it and go anywhere that they have the coordinates for on the other side of the Stargate. So they can run around their 20-foot mecha fighting stuff. So like we can open up teleportation circles that go to Zendikar Zendikar would be cool, but Zendrik, like where the giants used to be, in your 20-foot mecha, exploring old giant catacombs with giant-sized traps and equipment that the team would be able to go in and steal, but there'll be rival teams that are potentially going in with their mecha to break traps and stuff. So you could have a dungeon crawl at the 20-foot scale in these 20-foot mecha and be competing against mecha that could be 40 feet in size, which would occupy a 2x2 space at the 20-foot scale, or a 50-foot mecha, which would still occupy a 3x3 space at the 20-foot scale, and then like a 100-foot mecha would be like a 5x5, and it'd just be absolutely colossal. So super kaiju. So Zendrik can have kaiju and massive-sized creatures because it was the continent that the giants were on. The giants were huge. But with this system, giants could be 500 feet tall. In Theros, the actual gods, when the gods are summoned, we have a scaling system that they'll go anywhere from, it goes 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 for level 1 to 5. And then at level 6, it's 100. 7, it's 200. 8, it's 300. 9th level, it's 400. And then at 19th level, when you have access to 10th level casting using the mana system of Theros, you could summon an avatar of your god that's 500 feet tall. So you can create these massive scale avatars that are empowered by your piety to them in the piety system of the Theros campaign. And you can be fighting, like you can have various gods manifesting to fight with each other at this massive scale that your characters can control, much like a ranger would control a wolf as its companion. That avatar basically becomes a companion that you can control at this massive scale. So this kaiju idea is something that's been rolling around in a lot of my work for a while. I'm just now starting to coalesce it into an actual product that people can use and manipulate and bend and integrate into the campaigns like I've been talking about. So the teleportation circle is down. We have a smithy and we have a sacristy. So let's go look at what smithies and sacristies do for a moment, so we can orient ourselves and move forward. So a smithy, we'll look at the sacristy first because it's going to come up first. This is the theme and purpose of this structure that we're creating, of this like guild or whatever it ends up being. Inside the community of Capital Rock, which is a town, is a third-rank town, so it can have up to third-rank bastion facilities and structures built into the town under the oversight of the government that controls the Capital Rock. But since it's a settlement, it's also open for third parties to come in and establish their own bastions as well. Like Waterdeep is a series of what was the word I'm looking for? Bastions, like facilities and domicile. Thank you. Like where you live. If you live someplace but it has no purpose other than housing you, it's not really a bastion. It's just a place that you sleep. It could be a house, sure, but like if like you sleep in the loft above your blacksmith shop, that is a proper bastion because it has a facility that produces or has a purpose. Domiciles unto themselves don't actually have a purpose, but they could be framed as a barracks if you wanted to, but they don't actually have any purpose other than housing people, giving them a place to live and eat and sleep and blah. It's a home. It's a home. Barracks are homes. So like the default for anything, like all the houses, all the shops, buildings, military structures, guild halls, bay docks, all these things, the cities, the neighborhoods, these are all separate bastions, and there's hundreds of them in Waterdeep, all at different ranks. Like Waterdeep itself is 5th rank, it's a metropolis. But the metropolis is actually a collection of smaller cities. Each of the wards in Waterdeep is into itself is its own city that all of them are basically collected into this 1 million to 2 million population of people that are there at any given time, processing through the different wards. So a city can take a population up to 100,000. A metropolis can handle anything of any size beyond 100,000. So the metropolis umbrella is basically subdividing and relegating activities and responsibilities to each of the wardens that oversee the individual wards in Waterdeep, which is then further broken down into guilds, like patrol areas, like guard stations and defensive walls, different shops, pubs, inns, theaters, all these things, and then all the residential domiciles, which are themselves basically barracks. And like a first rank barrack can house 10 medium-sized creatures, or 2 large-sized creatures and 2 medium-sized creatures. Up to basically 10 squares of people can live in a first rank barracks, but that barracks could just be your family's home. But it could also be attached to a facility as a guardhouse or whatever. You see how that purpose is? First rank is 10 people. Second rank is 100, 1,000, 10,000. And then at 5th rank, you can have multiple groups of 10,000s with no real limit. But it then subdivides into basically it's multiple rank 4s. Metropolises are the same in that it is basically a collection of cities that are grouped close enough together to interconnect into a larger metropolis. And then you just keep dividing down to these smaller scales down to rank 1, which is an individual home or apartment that somebody lives in, or like a corner shop or a bodega, for instance. These are all viable structures at first rank. And as you go up in rank, as a settlement, you have hamlets, villages, towns, cities, and metropolis, with populations of 100, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, and then multiple cities of beyond 100,000 in size. So those are the ideas that we're playing with here. So when we're looking at the settlement, it is a certain rank itself, basically as a government structure with land surrounding that it oversees and controls. It has plots of land that are open, and however many structures you can fit onto it is how many bastions and domiciles and stuff that you can actually have in that settlement. But once it breaks certain population, like those population benchmarks, once it exceeds that, it automatically elevates to a larger size community, even if it doesn't have the resources to support it. That just creates unrest. If your population outscales your resources, you have basically like depression, recessions, stagflation, and potential riots and coups and rival governments that arise, and civil war. If you build resources higher than your population, you can't pull in the commerce. You can't maintain those facilities because you don't have enough people and economy moving to keep those facilities open. So you either are building out resources to match the population rate, or they're off balance and things are going to have civil unrest, which generate adventures for your characters to deal with. If they're, say, the governors of this community, that becomes their problem. If there are characters inside that community, it becomes tangential side quests and ways for you to make contact with other NPCs and to expand power, or to acquire power from other bastions that are becoming unstable as a result of the civil unrest. So you can work those two angles. It's we go over all that in the book. So it's super fun. But let's see. So we were looking at the sacristy. That is, sacristies and smithies are the two main. So since we can have multiple bastions inside of the settlement that are independent, the rank of the settlement determines how many unique bastion structures are inside of that community. So since Castle Rock is 3rd rank, it has a capital, like the settlement is just a facility that is part of the same bastion that also has the government resources to operate that settlement. So a bastion has a government facility which handles the bureaucracy of overseeing other cities or other franchise locations or other guild houses, or a settlement. And then the settlement is a facility that creates space to have additional bastions and external facility structures that don't need to be connected to what is now the Capitol building, the bastion, which you would call the Capitol building. So the Capitol building on Castle Rock is Dol Ara's bastion. Dol Ara is one of the gods of the sovereign. Dol Ara is the sovereign of sun and sacrifice. She represents wisdom in battle and is patron of those who seek justice, fight with honor, and make sacrifices for other. It's a great democratic message for Capital Rock overseeing these other asteroids. Hey, what's going on? Pit Bull Mace 5810. Bam. Love seeing the commitment you get to this. Thank you. It's a real inspiration, honestly. Sending holiday blessings. God bless. Thank you so much. If you think this shit is cool, if you weren't here, these are all read-only documents, but they're all Google Docs. Here's the Spelljammer book I published that this stuff is leaning into. Here's the Bastion Campaign work in progress for all the mechanics. And here's the Eberron Spelljammer Bastion Campaign where we're compiling all this information. But yeah, I love build. I've been DMing since 1987, so I've got almost 40 years under my belt. And I started with BX and AD&D First Edition, and this idea of domain and dominion and leadership, like at level 9+ was just fabric and fundamental in the game. In fact, in First Edition AD&D, the Oriental Adventures book that came out, you could have up to 30 followers as early as 4th level. And you would have a temple. It was the Sohei class, which was the fighting monk. It was basically like a ranger, but like a paladin sort of ranger crossbreed in 5e terms. Basically more like a paladin monk than anything else, if you were to call it in 5e terms. It was a super cool class. But by 4th level, you had your own fighting temple with up to 30 soldiers in it of 1st level, and then like a 3rd level second in command that was right behind you in 4th level. So like, it was cooked into the game that you were supposed to have a huge complement of people running around with you, carrying gear, hauling away treasure to convert into experience points, and to scare off large groups of like 60 goblins. It's like, well, here's 30 fighting monks coming through the forest. The goblins are not going to want to mess with you. Or if they do, we're not going to skirmish. But all that stuff got stripped away. 3rd edition had the last of it with stronghold builders, the skirmisher system, and the leadership feat. Those 3 things together still preserve the Dominion style of play in D&D during 3rd edition, but 4th edition really honed in on specifically just characters. And then 5th edition expanded from just characters a little bit with the Bastion system, which is a far cry from the Dominion system. But every Dominion system that's been built that's supposedly supposed to be used with 5e doesn't use 5e mechanics. Anyone ever notice that? Like, it completely doesn't fucking use it. Like, think of any popular Dominion style game that was built for a companion piece to 5e. None of them use mechanics from the 5e book. They might do things for your character that uses the 5e mechanics. Like if you have like this temple, your cleric gets blah. But if you were to actually do a battlefield battle between your temple monks and the marauding orcs, now you're looking at like lines of combat, and like you have to have like your sieges over here, and you have to have your frontline fighters here and your skirmishers, and we have these different like BX style cascade of weapon and turn order and movement order. It's not very 5e at all, like at fucking all. So all these systems that we've built use everything from the player's handbook and DMG and just use them differently to be able to create fleets and large scale battles and kaiju like this. It's just taking everything that already exists inside of the 5e game engine and just flavors it differently, because flavor is free, right? We just reflavor it so it can do something different. So, like if you wanted to play a Bloomburrow campaign from Magic the Gathering, like if you want to do like a QT Rabbit Bloomburrow game, you could use the color mana system that I built, and you could use the scaling mechanics, but instead of scaling your creatures up to 50 and 500 feet, you scale them down from 5 feet to half feet to 1 inch. So you can operate at that that tiny scale is basically at a lower scale than 5 foot. So a 5 foot creature is basically like a 50-foot giant when you are a half-inch tall, right? It's massive in scale compared to you. Half foot. It goes from 5 feet to a half foot, which is 6 inches, right? That's roughly 1/10. Like 5 feet is half of 10. Half foot is half of basically 10 inches or 1 foot. So it goes from 1 foot to 10 feet, 5 foot scale, half foot scale. So a half foot scale, like a shrew or a weasel or a cat, would be tiny sized, but they're 1/10 the size. That's what tiny becomes, 1/10 scale. And then you can take it 1/10 scale less than that, from a half foot down to a half inch. And now you're dealing with ants and like super tall boll weevils and shit like that. And you don't really need, if you go anything smaller than that, now you're becoming like in Ant-Man's micro world. And that you can have a campaign around that. But at that point, everything's kind of relative to each other. So you go from half inch to half foot to 5 foot scale, right? And then you go to 50-foot scale for the Mecha and the Kaiju, the 500-foot scale for vessels and larger Spelljammer ships. And then from 500-foot scale, you go to 5,000, which is basically a mile. And now you're starting to look at regions, settlements, asteroids, and then it keeps spanning out from 1 mile to 10 miles, 100 miles, 1,000 miles, up to 100 million miles per day. You can operate this scale from 100 million miles down to half an inch. So you have that range of scale. So you can basically build any kind of campaign at any scale that you want using that flow and change of your grid size. And we have the math mechanics to make all the hit points and the damage actually work as you move up and down in scale, which is what the Kaiju use. But I digress. This is the way that I was taught to think in BX. But it all fell away. But 5e is such a great game engine that you can build smooth scaling like this if you just build it. And most other companies that have put out Dominion-style systems, I'm not going to call them lazy, but I'm certainly going to say they didn't look in the right place. Because this stuff is super fucking obvious once you get into it. And it's super simple. We already know how the game works. We just have to know how the mechanics, like what the mechanics represent. So Dol Arah's Bastion, it is the church to Dol Arah, and this is the capital. This is the seat of government for Capital Rock. So its foundation, its center point is the sacrifice for greatness and honor. Like it's the people that run this place have a literal clerical connection, a divine energy connection to the spirit of sacrificing themselves for the greater good. So they're going through a crisis right now where there's this massive cold snap is killing half the crops in the communities, and we're having a starvation issue. But there's pirates that are preventing us from having free trade with other asteroid communities in the distance. So we're in a bit of a pickle right now, and that's one of the problems that the team has the opportunity to figure out in the campaign when we run it on Saturdays. And so, yeah, so neat. That's just like a piece of the equation. So the Capitol building is always a unique bastion like this, and depending on the rank of the community determines how many other unique structures, guilds, locations, bastions there are, and the rest of them are just like we have like for example, if we actually look at the community itself, we can see that Capital Rock is a third-ranked community with a population of 4,175. It's on a 64-mile asteroid, which is tons of space. That's like 10,000 square miles if you were to flatten it all out. It's huge space. It doesn't look big at a distance, but there's plenty. Like you can see, like the forest coming off of it. Well, I mean, 60 miles, and the trees are only going like maybe 500 feet high at most. So it's going to look like a fuzzy ball where there's giant forests on it, but there can be giant forests on here. So it's a great population center. But here's some of the things that stand out. Since it's built around harvesting crops and forest material, like this vegetation material that can be converted into food and construction materials and stuff. It has a garden and greenhouse for harvesting and enhancing your harvesting checks for the crops that you're growing. And it has a guild hall, which is basically any kind of craftsman like stonemasons, carpenters, all that sort of stuff. So all those like candle makers. And it's just a general, we can make stuff sort of place. That gives you a lot of flexibility, but the ability to process these materials into this raw material into process like planks and nails and blah blah blah. And there's also we have two neighboring communities. One is working an iron mine on this rock, and another one is extracting electrum ore from this rock. And both of them have smithies and smelts and stuff like that to process that. But it all gets channeled to Capital Rock, which can then, when we didn't have pirates getting in the way, we're able to trade with this community over here. Each square is a day's travel. So this is where the Pirates of Lazar are at, and they're creating a blockade here, but they're also fucking around. The Unseelie Court has housed themselves in this asteroid cluster over here, and they're starting to expand over in this direction to fuck around, and this is where the Fae and the Pirates are currently dealing with each other, figuring out who actually runs this place. And that's distracting the Pirates, so there's opportunities to run past them, or you can dive into the Poison Sea. And the Poison Sea is where there's not enough vegetation growing on asteroids to provide fresh air. So as soon as you enter this cloud, you're poisoned, and you stay poisoned until you get out of it, which means everything's at disadvantage. And if you are properly equipped or have unnatural anatomy that allows you to dwell out there, it's not a problem at all. You don't care. But for you to fly for days through here, if you do run across encounters of some sort of trouble, you're literally at disadvantage of everything. You're going to be performing horribly. It's even more dangerous than usual. So staying to the normal travel lanes is, in times of relative peace, the right way to go. But now we have to make these decisions about where do we want to travel through the Poison Sea to avoid pirates, or risk the pirates being distracted by the Unseelie Court. But the complication that we have is there's a manifest zone to Frisia that's erupted on the path out towards the pirates, which is freezing cold, and it's killing all the crops in these communities, which is why we have to go and trade and get past the pirates. But if we go out into the Poison Sea, there's a good chance we're going to run across colossal size elementals. So either fire, freezing, Frisia is the realm of ice, so like 500-foot ice elementals that don't like you. Or there could be rogue elements, because on the other side of our community, here's where the path of Frisia is, but here's where Furnia is, the plane of fire. And Furnia and Frisia hate the fuck out of each other. So it's very possible that a squad of fire elementals could come through here on the way to siege Frisia at pretty much any time Furnia comes by in orbit. The moons in this campaign aren't physical locations, they're portals that open to the plane they're connected to. So I don't even remember the name of the moons for Furnia and Frisia, but they come around every 30 days. So every 4 Bastion turns, the moon is in orbit. They're just about synchronized with each other. They're a little off, but when they completely line up with each other, they tend to fight. And this strip in between them where you're located at apparently is where they like to rumble. But they haven't had a manifest zone conflict in this region in known history. Most of the time when they get into scraps, it's over here somewhere or over here. But there's a cycle, and we don't know it yet, but there's a cycle that causes their manifest zones to erupt where we're located at now, and that'll churn. Eventually they'll erupt over here, and then they'll erupt over here. But when they get too close to each other in orbit, they spark off of each other and cause conflicts, causing elementals to pour out of the portal to attack each other, and we're at fucking ground zero. We didn't know it. We didn't know we would get here, or somebody knew they didn't tell us. So we have ice elementals here. We have potential fire elementals coming at us from the south, from the southwest. We have pirates to the east of us, and we do have a pathway here, but it ends up being a dead end. And if we go too far in that direction, we'll hit the Poison Sea. And if we cross the Poison Sea, we'll end up in Droam territory. And tip here, gargoyles don't have to fucking breathe. So they operate in the Poison Sea just fine. So Droam is a really dangerous place to approach. because Droium is famous for its gargoyle troops. And now they're all out in space, basically not caring that they're in a poison or even in a vacuum, because they're elemental creatures. So they're just fine. And everyone else is having a bad day. So you can be flying along your ship and you hear a couple things bumping up against your ship. What the fuck was that? Oh, crap. We've got 15 gargoyles on our boat. What level are we? Fuck. Get the kaiju out, or get the mecha out to fight these little guys, because we're the 20-foot mecha right now, and they're all like CR8 creatures, and there's 20 of them or something attacking us. That's a tough fight. So like that's the kind of stuff that we can do. But I digress. Each of these communities have their special locations and like points of interest. So these are the different facilities that are basically what makes like the stuff that makes the community work. Like we don't have pubs listed here, but of course there's fucking pubs. It's just not known for its pubs. This isn't a vacation location. Like this isn't Vegas. You don't go here to relax and go to pubs and theaters and shit. You go here for commerce. There you go. So these are the type of things that's here, but specifically these unique bastions lean into one particular idea and build them out like a player would, so that they become valuable resources that the players want to protect, because it does things for your characters. If this community gets wrecked, you're going to lose your potions, or you're going to lose that spell you were getting researched for you, or whatever that location was able to do for your character during downtime. That's going to get taken away from you if kaiju smash the building. So you have to protect the buildings from kaiju so you can cash in on the shit that you want from these different locations when they get done with their crafting time. Like you have all these timers that are running, like in Civilization. So we're building. So let's look at the sacristy. The sacristy, it is. It can, if you spend a downtime activity here, like a week. If you just spend a week here, but like if this is what you're doing between kaiju battles and you're just laying low and just letting random shit happen. A character can spend a bastion turn of downtime here using this facility, gains the benefit of a druidic charm. So I'm sorry, this is a sanctuary. This is over in Fellstone over here. This is where you would go to get a druid's charm. A charm is a spell that you can cast as a magic action, even though you're not a spellcaster. You don't need any material components. You don't need to wiggle your fingers. You just magic action, and the spell triggers. So a barbarian can carry charms on them to instant cast, but it's only one casting, and you can only have one active at a time. But if the team needed to have a druid spell to make whatever their next mission is easier, they could spend their downtime turn. Everyone can pick up that spell, so you have 5 castings of it for free, which could really change the flavor of an adventure if the DM leans into what it is that they're doing and works with the players to create these adventures together. Because while these random encounters are being generated, the players are going to have an opportunity to give input about how does that fit their character's background and their character story. So what do you want this challenge to be like? And then they can add in their flavor to it. And then I can take that and I can brew that up with what I know is going on to twist all the things that they want to do, so they can stay surprised, even though they're basically co-DMing with me to build the campaign on a week-by-week or a month-by-month basis, basically. 1 month of game time equals 1 bastion turn in-game, which is 1 downtime activity, 1 set of orders that you can issue to the bastions that you're interested in, and maybe like 2 or 3 kaiju fights at most. But we could also do dungeon delves into asteroids to clear Kyber out for mining rock. We can go on like missions, like go fight the pirates of Lazar, or if we can get that teleportation circle back up and running, they can go delve giant dungeons in Zendrick, because that's where the teleportation circle leads to. It leads to Zendrick, where the giants were at 20-foot scale. So it's just conveniently dungeon scale for the mecha. So if the team is really enjoying mecha combat, they can go to Zendrick and continue to enjoy mecha combat with mecha-sized creatures. Or if they want to get off of the mecha and just run around as 5-foot characters like usual, we can do dungeon delves, we can do pirate raids, we can do like fleshing out criminal organizations. We know there's a night hag out there that's causing trouble. So there's all sorts of little encounters that have already been built into these different things that we've been working on. And the players have the opportunity to operate at these different levels of play, from a society down to a character at mecha scale or 5-foot scale, or at the carrier scale at the 500-foot scale with their Dwarven Citadel. We can move and shift gears between these different modes of play inside of the same campaign, which will keep everything really fresh. What are we doing this week? Mecha combat with Mega Kaiju. Cool. What are we doing this week? We're going to go fight pirates in our Citadel. Cool. Let's go do that. What are we doing this week? We're going to check up these leads about this mob that's starting to move in. It's starting to inflate the cost of, I don't know, iron or whatever. Who knows? Whatever comes up. So what a sacristy does is once per day when a character finishes a short rest in the sacristy, you regain an expended spell slot up to level 5. So that's just a bonus spell on top of anything else that you get. So having a, like if you're defending your bastion from siege, having a sacristy in like a cleric or a wizard would be super fucking useful, because it gives you a free casting of a spell, which could be like glyphs and wards or whatever, or resurrection, or like raise dead if somebody got knocked. But you get basically a free spell up to 5th level once per day, which could be anything. Any spells, anything that your character can normally do. There you go. And then you can issue crafting and empower orders from the DMG. There's the 7 different orders that can be issued: crafting, empower, harvest, maintain, recruit, research, and trade. Those are your 7 orders. So when you issue orders, there's some generic orders like recruit to get hirelings to work facilities. That's like a generic order that any bastion can do, and you don't need any special facilities to hire people. But if you have special facilities, you have to hire people for that facility, which is which could be a challenge. But if I didn't have a sacristy, I couldn't issue these orders. So these are unique orders to the sacristy specifically, and each sacristy can only be issued 1 order at a time. Which in this case is crafting. We can craft non-magical items. We have a whole list at the back of the book for all the items in the player's handbook and the DMG, including magic items, and what facilities can make them, and what the relative cost or rarity of item it is for you to judge how difficult it is to build it. Everything scales on 1 to 5. Common, uncommon, rare, very rare, legendary is a scale of 1 to 5, using the 5e bounded accuracy curve, a difficulty of 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Nothing is ever more difficult than DC 30 in 5e games. That's just the highest limit. The way you determine if you're successful at building something is you make a bastion check, which is a d20 plus the rank of the facility that's creating the item. The rank of the bastion that the order was issued to, and whatever die is associated with the facility that's created. And we use proficiency dice, which is a d4, d6, d8, d10, d12 instead of your proficiency bonus. So we have the bastion rank, which like a 3rd rank bastion has a +3, so d20 +3. And if I have a 3rd rank sacristy creating sacristy equipment, then I would roll a d8 because it's 3rd rank. So d20 +3 plus d8 is a range of anywhere from 5 to 31. But since we're only, say, 3rd rank, we can't produce legendary magic items because we're only 3rd rank. We have to get to 5th rank to be able to make 5th rank legendary magic items. And if you fail your die roll, a complication occurs that becomes an adventure hook, and you have to go to the adventure and solve the adventure as like a fixer to get the problem out of the way. And once you resolve the problem, the check automatically succeeds and it continues on with what you want. If you had succeeded the die roll, you do the thing that you wanted and there you go. Like craft me a potion, cool. Make the die roll, I hit the number that I need, I crafted the potion, no problem. When it's done, like at the end of the Bastion turn, or maybe 3 Bastion turns from now, depending on how expensive it is or whatever, you'll now have that thing that you wanted. But if I failed the die roll, I would have to, like something happened, like we don't have the right type of magical root to make the thing that you want. So now you have to go find that root, or you could issue like a trade order to specifically locate and purchase some of that root that you need. And that also becomes an order that you issue to your Bastion, but it's a complication because you weren't able to solve it. So you can only issue 1 order to fix a problem per bungled order, right? So I could either make that an adventure and send the characters off to fetch this route if the players think that's cool and it's something that they wanted to do, then yeah, we'll make that our adventure this week. If they don't want to do that, but they still want the thing, they have to get the route. So let's issue the trade order, or whatever order we have to issue to resolve the complication. And if it succeeds, then it resolves itself and then it carries on normally during the turn like it would. But you can only attempt to resolve one complication per Bastion turn. And if your characters don't go on an adventure for it, it's going to be a hanging problem. And if you failed like the trade order, that would create another complication that has to be solved to resolve the trade order, which would automatically resolve, which then resolves the crafting order to make the thing that you wanted. So at some point, if you keep failing the die roll, it's creating this cascade of, well, we can't do it because of this. Well, we can't do it because of this. Well, I can't do it because of that. And you have this cascading bullshit line of all this crap that's going on. And at some point, you're probably just going to say, okay, whatever that complication that just came up, we're actually interested in that. So we're going to play that. And once we resolve that, all these other things just fall into place. And now we can get that thing done like we wanted to. So an ability check failure, again, it's just using the normal ability checks of D&D, using a proficiency die from the variant rules in the Dungeon Master Guide instead of a flat proficiency bonus. And that's how you determine if how you scale up the like a third rank facility rolling a D20 plus a 3 plus a D8. And if you're only trying to make a common magic item with a DC 10, you're automatically rolling a 5, and you can crank all the way up to 31. Like, you're gonna get a 10. And if you don't, it's only a first rank problem. So maybe you have first rank characters you can send off and fix that because Gandalf is busy right now. Go away. But you could send a 13th level character off to deal with that first rank problem. But if that's the challenge that the players want to do, of course there's going to be 13th level threats that are going to crop up. We were just going for fucking muffins. What happened? Demons are chasing us now. We were just going for donuts, dude. Like it escalates into ridiculousness because you put a ridiculously high level character to deal with a problem. It's like the problem itself is easy, but it's all the bullshit that comes after you because you showed your face. It's like that's where the problems actually come up. So it becomes an adventure that your players are like, yeah, we want to engage this with these characters. Like, cool, we'll make a thing out of that, and then that expands the depth of their characters. So hopefully that makes sense, because that's what we do. Okay, so the sacristy, you can craft order, or you can issue to make divine or druidic magic items like relics, holy water, potions, rods, scrolls that are either divine or druidic, staffs, wands, wondrous items, and we have all that stuff listed down in the index below for like what type of facility can create different items and stuff. Blah. So that's the sacristy. So this is like a druidic cleric combo, right? So the actual capital building of this community is a cleric church to Dol Ara, which we talked about earlier. But another large facility inside of this community is the sacristy, which serves both druids and clerics. And Fell Tower, which is one of the asteroids in this community, right here actually, it has a druid sanctuary in it. So like it is a this is like this is druid home here. But it has obviously the sacristy, I think, makes sense as being an enclave. So we're going to call this thing, we're going to call it an enclave. So let's look at the format that we have for different structures so we can duplicate it. That's the governing bastion. Let's go down here to Polly's Potion. Thank you, Tiny Timer. Polly's Potion Emporium. We're going to rename it that. There. Polly's Potion Emporium. There we go. Okay, so this is how you structure one. You have your rank. You get bastion points that you spend on facilities, orders, and basically repair work or defense. And you assign the points, which gives them different ranks. You can see here, like in this example, Polly's Potion Emporium has 2 meditation chambers and 4 laboratories. Laboratories are awesome at creating potions. So basically, this is only a second rank bastions, so it can only have up to second rank facilities. But that means that each laboratory can produce 400 gold pieces of stuff in a week, which is basically each one can create 16 common healing potions, like D4 plus 4 or whatever. Each one can create 16. So we can create 64 healing potions per week if that's all that Polly is doing at her Emporium. But if the team takes responsibility, if the players take responsibility for this bastion and order it to make a bunch of potions, now you have to go through the process of, do they all get created, or do we create complications that need to be resolved? And now, since the players stuck their nose in it, they have to fucking fix it. So if problems come up, that's the responsibility of having access to this kick-ass resource. They have to figure out how to keep it running. And so we'll randomly create encounters and challenges, and like we said, the players then get to decide, if it's a recruiting issue, we're having a hard time keeping people working here. Well, why is that? That's the kind of stuff that DMs ask themselves all the time. But we would ask the players, hey, is this something you guys are engaged with? Why do you think they're having recruitment problems right now, and what do you think would solve it? What's an easy way to solve that if we were to issue an order to solve it? And then the players, we roll the dice to see what kind of an order would resolve it, and then the players get to make up the narrative of what that adventure is supposed to be, and then I compare that to all the stuff that I know that's going on that they don't know about. And if this is a completely new leg, awesome, let's just build that out as a new side quest that might somehow lean us into another idea that I already have brewing somewhere else. Or it could be wow, this completely aligns with this night hag thing that we've been doing. So they're yeah, some sort of magical affliction or something from working with the potions. The night hag is contaminating Polly's potions, so it puts people to sleep and they can't wake up. So now the team has to figure out, how are they being put to sleep, and what do we need to do to solve that? And that becomes their adventure of the week. And once they solve that issue, then the potions clear up and they can start making more potions again. But the players could have all this input into it so they can take partial ownership. And if you could drop characters from the game altogether and just run complications and resolve complications as orders, and it could be a solo player journaling event. I mean, you could develop a kingdom from one little settlement of 7 scouts that set up shop here, and over time, if you wanted to do journaling, you could build it out with conflicts around it and opposing bastions that you can make decisions for that are running against your star settlement, and let that grow to a metropolis over time if you wanted. Or an interdimensional guild if you wanted to. But this can all be ran without players actually making characters at all, if you wanted to stay at that microscope level of game development to build worlds and campaigns inside of. And at any point inside of that, you can let's just drop some characters in and run this at the 5-foot scale, and have our characters get involved directly because we think that's fun. And then you could pan back out again, and you could run the world for 4 or 5 months of processing bastion turns until something comes up. It's oh, that's cool. And then you drop in new characters. Now it's it was a first rank thing a while ago, and now we're a couple months later of gameplay, and now we're looking at a situation where this is a third rank something. Okay, cool. Let's make 9th level characters that can be fixers for this organization as hirelings and go fix that problem. And then maybe we process another week or two of just stuff going on, and then something new crops. Ooh, let's drop, and you can just drop into there. But we're going to be running this basically 4 sessions of D&D, 3 hours a piece is going to process 1 bastion turn. So in that 3-hour block, we'll be able to process the results of the last bastion turn and roll up all the new things that are going to be happening this turn plus complications. And then the next 9 hours, next 3 sessions of 3-hour blocks, we'll then be able to have 2 or 3, maybe 4 different encounters or adventures that we can run of resolving complications, fighting kaiju, skirmishing with pirates or ice giants or whatever, blah, 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 blah. That's the tempo and flow that we're hoping to be able to follow in the campaign. So that's the idea. And we're going to be doing this on my Discord. And my Discord's linked down below. And anyone that's interested in participating, I'm probably going to do this This will probably be on a Saturday, I suspect, like a Saturday morning. So if you're interested, jump in my Discord and say, hey, you know, that you're interested in this Bastion stuff with Spelljammer, and you want to know how you can get involved, and we'll get you into the mill. Okay, so I want to just so we have the points here. We spend them on facilities. And then we have this pocket here of spare points because, like, I can issue a number of orders equal to my rank +1. So you can see here we're maintaining a lifestyle, which requires 1 order. And then we're issuing 1 potion here for Empower, another Empower order here for more healing potions right now. And since we're 2nd rank, that would normally cap us for the maximum amount of orders that we can issue. But we could spend extra points here, this pocket that we have, 1 equals extra order. As long as I have facilities that aren't doing something already, like one laboratory is Empower, Laboratory, making minor healing potions. This order is also Laboratory. So we have 4 laboratories, so we can issue 4 orders if we have enough inventory, like if we have enough bandwidth to do so. Laboratory, there. This was the extra, so I spent an extra point for an extra order, and that is now a 3rd laboratory that is processing. Laboratory. So this has more infrastructure, or rather it has more facilities than orders that it can issue. As an NPC organization, it's running inefficiently right now. If I can get another Bastion point, and at 2nd rank, there's basically 1,000 gold pieces per Bastion point. So if I can get another 1,000 gold pieces of value built into Polly's Potion Emporium, I could then issue 2 orders to have all 4 laboratories operating at the same time. Currently, I can't. So that's just a limitation that we have. So we have to be mindful of that this has more capacity than we're using it for. So we have the actual structure, its rank, Bastion points, how it spends those Bastion points, and what orders are issuing to its facilities to make things go. Lifestyle doesn't require a specific facility. Lifestyle is basically the quality of life that people have in the facility, or inside this specific Bastion. That the lifestyle that's being earned right now is poor, which is, well, there's seven levels of lifestyle. Aristocratic, wealthy, comfortable, modest, poor, and then you have squalid and wretched. So on a scale, on the bounded accuracy curve, aristocratic lifestyle requires a DC 30 to maintain that level of lifestyle for everybody. That's your economics. All of your economics of your Bastion, of your community, of everything in the game is what level of lifestyle can you roll. The higher the lifestyle means the higher level of materials you have access to. Like if I want to make a legendary magic item, I have to be maintaining an aristocratic lifestyle in my Bastion because of the amount of money that's involved in creating legendary magic items. Instead of worrying about pouring hundreds of thousands of gold into it, and how the fuck am I going to do this? This campaign is stupid. No, instead you just have a 5th rank Bastion with a 5th rank facility capable of producing that 5th rank legendary magic item, and maintain a 5th level lifestyle aristocratic to afford the materials and the manpower capable of creating legendary magic items to help you with that. That's incredibly expensive, but it all gets boiled down through, can I roll a DC 30 on my lifestyle check to be able to set up the resources and infrastructure needed to make that happen. So we're making an ability skill challenge out of running our Bastion, out of running our city, out of running our nation, out of running our pirate fleet. It all runs off of lifestyle being the way that we ignore economics. Of course, we sell potions, but we're not going to play, math and abacus here, and tick out how many 25 gold piece potions and how many people can we. No, it's we sell potions, and we have a damn good pub at Polly's Emporium, And that's how we make our money. And as a result of it, from our pub and the potions and stuff, we're now rolling our ability check. And maybe I gain a bonus or something from the different facilities that we're using to make that lifestyle check. And as long as I can hit at least a DC 10, I don't have any technical problems other than I might be limited on what kind of things I can build right now or have access to. But if I roll less than a 10, things are being stolen, people are quitting, things are catching on fire, things are, people are breaking in. It's not safe. And if you have a wretched lifestyle, your building is actively being destroyed or has been destroyed, like by a natural disaster or a riot or a fire. Complications occur because your lifestyle is so shitty. It's not safe there. It doesn't function properly anymore. So you have to have at least a poor lifestyle to be able to get access to first rank materials to build the stuff that you need to produce the level of lifestyle that a rank 1 poor lifestyle indicates. So currently these guys are poor, and because they only rolled like an 8. I forget what the die roll was. We did it a couple sessions back. But like they rolled an 8 on their lifestyle. So they're stuck at a poor lifestyle right now, which is why all they can fucking produce is minor healing potions. Coincidentally, that's probably all the characters are going to need them for right now. But the math really, like the narrative of what's going on in the community gets randomly generated by the ability checks that you're doing to maintain their lifestyle, to see how are they doing, and then what kind of orders would they be issuing if they're doing this well right now. What could they pull off right now? We're doing wealthy right now. We should really cash in on those exotic materials that we need to make that, like potion of spider climbing or whatever it is that you're building. But let's cash in on that now. I can get access to it so we can make some progress with that before this splurge of wealth goes away and we lose the opportunity to advance that thing. See how that works? So yeah, we're just going to duplicate that. I think we grabbed this already, but we're just going to grab this and duplicate it. Copy. And then let's go down to the sacristy here. And it's only a first rank sacristy, so it hardly has any power at all. But we're going to basically strip this away, strip that away. A first rank facility will have anywhere from 1 to 10 bastion points to spend on facilities, orders, and other sustained tasks. So we're going to roll a d10. A second rank has 11 to 20, which is basically d10 plus 10. Third rank is d10 plus 20. Fourth rank is d10 plus 30. And then fifth rank is d10 plus 40. And a fifth rank bastion technically doesn't have a ceiling for how many bastion points it can have. So at that point, it starts to spread out and build other locations with those bastion points, spend them on creating subsidiaries and build a government and settlements and blah. So I just rolled a 5. So we're going to have 5 bastion points. And we know for a fact that we're going to have a sacristy, and it's only going to be first rank sacristy. Because it's a fucking sacristy, right? We're going to call this, let's call it the, Druids Enclave. Because we already talked about that this is basically a satellite office for the Druidic Sanctuary in the on the fourth asteroid, Fellstone. So this is like the heart of Druidic activity in this community, but they have a small satellite office out on the Capital Rock because it's Capital Rock. Of course, they have representation there. People need to know what the Druids want in the capital, so they're making decisions for the community that involve the Druids, right? And the Druids provide all of the boost of the plant growth, the ritual of plant growth that lets you double your crop output. So they basically can spend and sustain in order to be casting plant growth on the different community rocks to make sure that these little asteroids are able to produce big amounts of food to be able to feed people easily. So if something happens to Fellstone, they lose that magic, and now they're going to have disadvantage on rolling harvest food checks to see if they're producing enough food during this elemental cold snap that they're dealing with. So the Druids Enclave has to have a location here. It only has 5 points. Let's wipe these things away. We typically like to keep a pocket, if possible, of here 1 point. And let's randomly roll what different potential facilities might be in the Druid Enclave alongside the sacristy. And then we'll do the same thing for the smithy, and then I'll probably be done for the night. So here's our list of existing Bastion facilities right now. And we have a total of what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Oh, wait, I can only do first rank. I'm doing that wrong. First rank, I don't know what our die roll yet is for like second rank is a 27, so it's 3d6 plus 12 minus 3 gets us a range of 1 to 27. D20 plus 2d6 minus 2 gets us a range of 1 to 30. I don't know what the number is yet for number 1. So we can only pick first rank facilities. Let's verify. Sacristy is first rank, so that works. So let's go, what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So there's a total of 21. So how do we get to 21? We could roll a d20 and a d2 and subtract 1. We could let's see, what can we do? We could do 1d10 plus, how does this feel? 1d10 plus 2d6 minus 2. That would give us a range of 1 to 20, so that doesn't quite work. So we need, let's do 1d12 and 1d10. That'll give us a range of 2 to 22 minus 1 gives us a range of 1 to 21. There we go. So let's roll a d10 and a d20 and subtract 1, and then we'll just go down the line and count it out and find what other facility, because we're just randomly generating these things to see how they're built. So I rolled a 10 and a 6 minus 1 is 15. So let's just count down the line here. Go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Ooh, settlement. Okay, we'll have to skip that because we're already inside of a settlement. 16. Oh, no, that makes kind of sense. Hold on. 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Okay, so what we're seeing here is a settlement inside of it. So that means it has to have, for us to have a settlement, it needs a government. And 1 is a settlement. So that means it could have a hamlet size up to basically 10 miles area. So that means that the Druid's Enclave is set up on the asteroid, separate from the actual capital, the actual town of Capital Rock. So it's going to have its own little space, like in the forest, maybe. So that's 3 points, and now we're going. So I had to auto cascade that government in with it. So let's roll again and see what our other facility is. God, that just makes sense, doesn't it? 5 and 2 is 7, minus 1 is 6. And a die roll of 6 is a gaming hall. The fuck? Okay. I did not expect a Druid Enclave in its own sacred grove to have a fucking gambling den. So consider my interest officially piqued. Let's keep going. Where are we at? Oh god, it's only 7:50. We're rocking, dude. We got like at least another hour here. Let's see. Oh, okay. So let's see what these different things can do, so that you guys have context, and so we know what kind of bonuses we get to our lifestyle roll. So let's go. Oops. Let's first go down to gaming hall is going to be the first thing that we see. So let's go down to that. These are all, other than government and settlement, I think every single one of these things are just things that are in the DMG. We're just taking the idea of what all those different facilities were, and we expanded on them so they could fit in a striated rank 1 to 5 structure. And then all the things that they could do, we expanded out to be able to work throughout the entirety of your character's career from level 1 to 20. What could we put in each of these facilities that will forever be useful for the characters to want to develop over time? So everything in here is built out on a scale of 1 to 5 with the DCs of 10 to 30 on a 5-foot scale, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Everything in the 5e game engine runs on half casting progression or the proficiency bonus progression. There's basically five ranks or scaling up for magic spells. There's 5 levels of magic items. The lifestyle that we look at, poor to aristocratic, are 5 lifestyles from 10 to 30. And then, of course, squalid and wretched. Wretched is a 0, like less than 5. Squalid is 5 to 9. And then finally, you're poor at 10 to 14. And then blah, 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 up to aristocratic at 30 plus. All these things scale up at that proficiency bonus, that 5-tier system that half-casters and proficiency bonuses operate on. The entire game is built on the 5 tiers. It's not a 4-tier game like people say. It's actually 5 tiers. Everything works inside of that. Ask yourself, what has more impact on the game? 5th level spells or 6th level spells? Because you get access to 5th level spells at 9th level. And full casters, sure, they get access to it at 6th level spell at 11th level, which is why people think that 1, 5, 11, 17 are the 4 tiers, but in reality, the way that everything in the game ranks up is 1, 5, 9, 13, 17. That is the actual cadence of the game. It's almost like it's like when the church made October the 10th month instead of the 8th month, and they made December the 12th month instead of the 10th month, and Nov as a Novi as in 9. November is the 11th month instead of where it's supposed to be as the 9th month. They took the whole calendar and they rotated it 2 months so that nothing would fucking make sense for religions. Like, I feel like Wizards did that, or our community did that to ourselves by condensing the tier of D&D from 5, where it's naturally at in the 5e game engine, and compressed it into the 4-tier system. I think that's a hangover from 3rd edition. I think that was more accurate in 3rd edition to have that scaling. It's just wrong in 5e, says I. Fight me over it, but if you want to fight me over it, join my forum and bring up the topic in the Bastion campaign or in the D&D general thread. Be welcome, either way. And look at my art while you're there. Check it out. So these are our 4 facilities. This is our pocket. We're on our way to looking at the gaming hall. So what does a gaming hall do, right? Keeping in mind this 5-tier system, that this is going to be useful to characters starting at level 1 all the way up to 20th level. 1, 5, 9, 13, 17. First rank, second rank, third rank, fourth rank, fifth rank. Proficiency dice, D4, D6, D8, D10, D12. So your checks, depending on your rank, is D20 plus your Bastion's rank plus the rank of the facility. Because you could have a 5th rank Bastion and a 2nd rank blacksmith shop. So when you issue an order to the blacksmith, it's going to be operating with a D6. It'd be plus 5 because of the Bastion, but the proficiency die is only going to be a D6 because it's only a 2nd rank smithy. If they invested time and energy and resources to expand and then recruit people for it, they could crank that smithy up to 5th rank, and it would be then rolling a D20 plus 5 plus D12, hitting those high numbers. Like on a D20 plus 5 plus D6, it's almost impossible for you to hit a legendary magic item like DC 30. And you wouldn't actually have the skill needed to execute that task until you have 5th rank hirelings that are basically making ability checks equal to your 17th level character. Representing, yeah, we're NPCs, but we have the same level of knowledge and power when it comes to crafting stuff as you do. So in this place, we're equals. So that makes them really useful allies that you want to recruit to help you make these fantastic or crazy expensive things. Like a hammerhead ship is 80,000 gold in Spelljammer. That's a legendary tier magic item. 100 gold, 400 gold, 4,000 gold, 40,000 gold, and then 200,000 gold plus. So once you get beyond 40,000, basically 41,000 becomes a legendary level magic item. Up to 200,000 or more is basically what that scale is. So an 80,000 gold hammerhead ship is basically a 5th rank task to produce. But since it's not magical, anyone could do it. But a 1st rank workshop making an 80,000 gold ship, a 1st rank shop can only process 100 gold per week, which means it's going to take 800 weeks for them to build that. Meanwhile, a 5th rank workshop can create an 80,000 gold item in 1 season, 3 months, or 13 weeks instead of 800 weeks. So you want to have high rank shit building high rank shit so you can actually use it in your game that you're playing right now, instead of handing it off to descendants of this campaign from like 3 campaigns from now. Okay, so gaming hall. A gaming hall, its basic facility benefit is when you issue the maintain order to determine your lifestyle, you can roll an additional Bastion die up to the value listed for the rank of this facility. And since this is a 1st rank enclave, that this facility can only support 1st rank structures or 1st rank facilities. So when it says you can roll an extra Bastion die at 1st rank, we're rolling, it'd be a D20 plus 1 for the rank. And since we're 1st rank facilities, it'd be a D4. So D20 plus 1 plus D4, like for the, like your Bastion rolls a D4 because it's 1st rank to maintain a lifestyle. But since you have the gaming hall, you get to roll 2 dice. D4, each is a D4 because they're both 1st rank. If you had a 3rd rank enclave, you'd roll a D8 plus the gaming hall only 1st rank. It'd be a D8 and a D4. And you don't add them, you take the best result. So if I had 5 dice, one's a D4, one's a D6, one's a D8, D10, D12, and I rolled a 1 on all of the dice except for the D4, I rolled a 2, then the D4 is the best result. We'll get a plus 2. It wouldn't be plus 6, add them all up together. That'd be ridiculous. Like the DC, like the curved accuracy wouldn't matter at all. No, you just use the best die, and that represents the Bastion die, the proficiency die represents how well your hirelings are working together to execute the task that you issued to them. The D20 it represents just the chaos and randomness of all ability checks out there. But that Bastion die represents how well do your hirelings work together attempting to perform this action. And let's say that you were making a legendary magic item, and it is going to take you 13 Bastion turns to complete it. It's a 5th rank task. Once I hit that DC 30, if I have 5th rank task, if I have 5 Bastion points laying around, I could put those 5 points into sustain legendary magic item. And for 13 weeks, I don't have to roll again. But that is going to lock one of my orders, and that would be, order would be sustained, empower legendary magic item. 5th rank, rolled, let's say I rolled a 32. And I've locked that in with my 5 points. But if my Bastion is attacked and I lose Bastion points, I'm either going to lose facilities, or I'm going to lose my pocket, or I might lose these points that are sustaining the legendary magic item. So let's say I take 4 Bastion points from a Kaiju destroying my building, and I lose 4 points, and now I only have 1 point left. I can no longer sustain this legendary magic item because I don't have 5 points devoted to it. Now I have to put the legendary magic item on hold until I can repair the facilities that were being used to create that item. And once they do, now I have to fucking roll again. And I have to hit that DC 30 or I have a complication and I can't start work until I resolve the complication. That creates an adventure. Like when that space cloaker attacked and it used its sonic scream. It destroyed all the crystals that we were trying to build this legendary magic item with. We now need new purified crystals. Well, that sounds like an excuse for your characters to do a delve into the Frisia Manifest Zone to go find massive ice crystals that are enchanted with elemental power. We can use these. That'd be great. So now you get to go on a hex crawl into the Frisia Manifest Zone that's currently affecting the region. Like maybe we want to make magic items that make our crops immune to cold or whatever. So that becomes a magic item that we want to create, and then the effectiveness of the item is going to be based on the rank of the item that we build, which will correspond to the level of harvesting that we can perform for crops. So if we have a village that can harvest second rank crops, which is sufficient to feed a second rank village, we would then need to make an uncommon magic item that will enchant those groves to be able to resist the cold. But wouldn't you know it, we need perfect elemental attuned ice crystals from Frisia to mount in our fields to act as almost like a scarecrow to keep the cold at bay so that our crops will be fine. This now becomes a quest that the characters can go on in their carrier ship or in their mecha or both to go into Frisia and hope that you don't run across 500-foot giant ice demons while you're out there collecting these rarefied, uncommon rarity stones to go feed to your settlement, right? You see how that works? We're creating adventures on scale with the things that our bastions and our settlements need, because everything works on a scale of 1 to 5. Our characters are currently 5th level, so we're operating at the 2nd rank scale, but we might run into 3rd or 4th rank problems that would be like CR7 or CR10 creatures that we're gonna fucking need Mecha to fight. Luckily, we have Mecha in this game to make our characters 20 feet in size and capable of dealing 3rd and 4th rank damage to creatures in our ships. So okay, great. So the gaming hall gives us that bonus die. That's just the passive basic facility benefit that we get for having installed a gaming hall. And now we have a specific downtime activity that our characters can take if they want to spend a week carousing in the gaming hall as their downtime activity this Bastion turn, which lasts a week. Then you get Fortune's Favor, which is a character that spends a Bastion turn in this facility is inspired with good fortune, gaining a number of Bastion dice equal to the rank of this facility to spend during adventures, lasting a number of turns equal to the rank of this facility. The character that spends a Bastion turn in this facility is inspired with good fortune, gaining a number of Bastion points equal to the rank of this facility, which is 1st rank. And you get a Bastion die at 1st rank, that's a D4, and it lasts for 1 week. That sucks right now, right? But at 3rd rank, it'll last 3 weeks. You'll get 3 Bastion dice, which are D8s that you could basically use as Bardic Inspiration dice on any D20 test that comes along. You've been inspired with the luck of the gaming house. It's enchanted you with luck that carries out with you that you can express by spending dice to modify your D20 die rolls. You see how that works? And then we have a unique order that we can issue. Each facility has 3 things that they can do, which will be any combination of basic facility benefits, downtime activities, or unique orders. Like some facilities only have basic facility, like all they do is boost die rolls of other things. There's other facilities that have just downtime activities. There's all sorts of stuff that you can do here, but it's just on the individual level, like the meditation chamber or training hall and stuff like that. Then there's unique orders, which you can only issue to this specific facility using its Bastion die. So, which is trade. So the trade order allows you to issue a unique trade order to this facility. If you sacrifice a Bastion point when you do this order and you succeed the Bastion test, you gain 2 Bastion points permanently. So you can gamble to double your Bastion points. This is a way that you can rapidly increase the size of your Bastion facility, your Bastion, but you have to hit the die rolls. So if you fail the roll, you cannot recover the sacrificed Bastion point, and you create a complication. The DC of the Bastion test is determined by the rank of the Bastion where the facility is installed. Until, I need to add this in here, until the complication is resolved, the this facility cannot be. This facility is inactive. So since the complication, since you lost the Bastion point, and if we just had a complication that if you resolved it, you got 2 points, and you'd never lose points. This actually has a real risk reward to it, and the rank of your Bastion determines the DC that you have to hit to double your points. So if you already have a 5th ranked Bastion with like 45 points, if you want to turn 1 point into 2, giving you instead of 44, 46 points, you have to hit a roll of 30. But there's other facilities that you can install that allow you to roll extra dice when you make the trade order. So you could have like 4 or 5 facilities allowing you to roll 5 12-sided dice alongside your D20 plus 5, making it far more likely that you're going to roll a 10 or better, meaning that on a 15 on the D20 plus the 5 bonus plus say a 10 on your 5 12-sided dice, you're more than likely going to hit that. You might miss it, but the odds aren't horrible that you're going to earn an extra point, a bonus point for that. So a good strategy is if like for example, if you have some Bastion events give you bonus points this turn, like a rival collapse, and you were able to steal some of their resources in the kerfuffle, your Bastion has gained D8 extra Bastion points this turn. You could sacrifice those temporary Bastion points to gamble those off to create permanent Bastion points in return. Or you could use them to issue additional orders to facilities to make progress on something. Or you could use them to hire a whole bunch of people so that as you expand your facilities, you can put those people in place. A temporary point can't be used to like purchase a facility because you're going to lose the point. It's going to leave your roster, and then what are you supposed to do? You can only sacrifice, like you can use those bonus temporary Bastion points on things that are temporary themselves. I only need it this turn. That's great because it's going to go away next turn. Great, I needed it for now. I had it available. I was able to get more work done because of the boost in production, because of the additional Bastion point resources we had available to us. So that's what the main benefit that we see here is the, let's go over here and go +1 die to maintain lifestyle. And that's the only thing I really need to note here, because the rest of it is stuff that the players would get involved in. Like I might have a running order for trade here, but if I had a bad streak, I don't have a lot of fucking points. So I don't plan on really using this gaming hall a lot. I'm using it for luck, and I'm using it to maintain my lifestyle. So we're not doing big trades right now. We're just using it to grant favors and to boost our maintain order, to stay solvent. Let's go look at the government next. So the government the basic facility benefit is when issuing a trade order to acquire materials or non-magical items, non-magical or magical items, materials, items, or magic items. You can roll an additional Bastion die equal to the rank of this facility. So that's going to be a +1 die to trade for material, non-magic items. And what's your facility benefit? Okay, so if you spend a Bastion turn here, you can govern. Another unique Bastion facility benefit is you can govern a number of Bastions and settlements of a rank up to the rank of this facility, as detailed in the governing Bastions section below. You can govern a number of Bastions and settlements equal to the rank of this facility, of a rank up to the rank of this facility. So if I want to, a first rank government can command one other, either a settlement or another Bastion. So like Waterdeep, for instance, has 7 wardens. So it needs 2 governments, both at least 4th rank, to be able to handle, because a 4th rank government can handle a 4th rank settlement, which is a city up to 100,000 people, and it can handle up to 4 of those at the same time. So a 4th rank facility is large enough it can handle a city, can handle 4 of them, but there's 7 wards in Waterdeep. So that means that you have to have 2 governments of at least 4th rank to be able to operate all those together. But those government structures themselves are only 2 bastions. So Waterdeep with a 5th rank government is able to relegate activities to the wards as individual city, basically like subsidiaries, and still have 3 orders left over, like an army, like a standing army that it keeps, a naval fleet of merchants it could be sustaining, and maybe it has an enclave or what's the word? An embassy. Like maybe it has an embassy in the capital of Cormyr. Like those might be the different government facilities that Waterdeep itself is overseeing and maintaining. And then each of those wards as its own city can then have not an enclave. It would be the actual land that these different cities are inside of, up to a 200-mile area that it can oversee at 5th rank. So that's what that unique benefit is. You can govern a number of bastions or settlements, and we only need 1 settlement, which is the grove, the grove that this is growing in. Let's look at what's the downtime. So if your characters spend a week in the government facilities, you gain political influence, which is a character that spends a bastion turn of downtime activity using this facility gains advantage on all charisma checks with hirelings and residents within a bastion or settlement that this bastion governs for a number of bastion turns equal to the rank of this facility. So at 5th rank, like the Lords of Waterdeep could spend 1 week a month governing, and they will forever in Waterdeep get advantage on any charisma check or conversation that they're having with anybody inside the city. There you go. Unless they're not residents, they're just visiting, they don't know who they are, right? So that's the difference. So you're around, you hear about these people enough that the politics of it is bending you and is bending favor in your direction because you invested the time in showing face and being part of the solution or whatever. So that's what the government can do. So the trade order leans in nicely with the gaming hall, which can issue the trade order to try to acquire additional bastion points. But at this rank, you risk 1 point. It's only a DC 10, but you only have 1 point in your pocket to spend. So that's crazy. It's risky because if they fail, they have to shut down their sacristy, or they'll have to they can't shut down the sacristy because that's what it's for. If they shut down the government, the settlement becomes insolvent. If they shut down the settlement, they don't have anywhere to have all this extra land for. It becomes wild. It becomes uncontrolled, basically chaos, and generating random attacks and events and stuff. So they don't really have a budget right now. They're waiting for something to happen that's going to give them additional budget so that they can afford to build a thicker pocket to use their gaming hall to try to ramp results. We don't know what that gaming hall is yet, so we're gonna have to lean into that. But let's keep digging through shit. We already saw the sacristy before, but we'll look at it again real quick just for thoroughness. Facility benefits. So this isn't a downtime activity, it's just a benefit. So once per day, when a character finishes a short rest in the sacristy, you regain an expended spell slot up to level 5. We're using gritty realism, which means you only get 1 long rest each bastion turn, which means we're going to go through 4 sessions of gameplay, and the characters can only take short rests during that time. As many short rests as they want, but only short rests. So once per day, which means 7 days per bastion turn, they can get a free spell slot up to level 5. And so when you only have a long rest to get your spell slots back, a sacristy is super fucking useful, but it's only 1st rank. So that means they can only get a 1st level spell slot back, which basically means that they have up to 7 extra 1st level spell slots available to them each bastion turn in a week. They just have to spend a short rest, like just spend the night there so they can pick that thing up. So this might actually become, ironically, this is located at Castle Rock, or rather Capital Rock, which is the center point, which means that it takes less time to get to anywhere that are being attacked by kaiju from this location. This is the best location for patrolling and protecting. And the kaiju adventuring doesn't keep you from your down. The characters get one downtime activity per Bastion turn, and they can spend it anywhere that they want. But the whole team has to spend it at the same location in their Dwarven Citadel, which acts as basically a supply caravan as well as a mobile fortress to protect the communities. It's not only the sheriff, but it's also the merchant, right? So your characters are forever being a merchant caravan guard escort and mecha that have hangar inside of the Dwarven Citadel. The Citadel has a ton of open storage space to haul materials from place to place. So when the characters decide which settlement do they want to spend their downtime activity in, that becomes the default location where they will deploy from to protect the communities that are further away. So like if they spend their time over here in Fellstone and kaiju attack over here like at Crag Falls number 2, that's what, to avoid the poison sea, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hours to get to Crag Fall. And we know that when a kaiju attacks, it's there for D10 hours. If it takes longer for the characters to get there, then the kaiju finishes its visit. That community is going to lose Bastion points, which will disable the lifestyle or the facilities that are inside of that community. You see how this is all working together? It's amazing how good the 5e game engine really is at being able to build these different styles of play. So I don't know if any of y'all that are listening to this have ever really thought about those type of mechanics and stuff, but that's what the system is designed to do, to build that society civilization level of gameplay that creates its own adventures as a result of the different cascading complications and problems that come from you wanting to use Bastion facilities to give your characters cool shit. You get cool shit, but you have to do skill checks for them, and if you fail the skill check, it creates an adventure that you're going to go on, and when you complete it, that's going to clear the path. Then you get the toy that you wanted. But your toys are limited to your character's level, which is the rank of the facilities that you're operating, which become more and more difficult to succeed as you gain higher and higher levels. But your ability bonuses get higher and higher. So it all scales together. Excuse me, I have to fix my chair. Just like the 5e game system was designed to do, with the bounded accuracy curve that they created for 5e, that creates that elegant sweep from a DC 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 5 ranks. The 5e game engine is fucking amazing. I honestly just don't think that I honestly just don't think Wizards has, either they don't see the value in this or they haven't seen it. I will bet you balls to bones that Mike Mearls has these ideas and that he knew this. It's not like I'm creating these things. I'm noticing how the game system does this stuff. It's an excellent game engine. It's just Wizards isn't like, if I ran Wizards of the Coast, this is how I'd build shit. Like, these are the type of campaigns that I would create in a hardback 200-page book or whatever. Like, because you can translate the entire world of Tyrell using these mechanics. Like, at any depth that you want, or at any large scale, like Am, Cormyr, we've already been talking about Waterdeep, 10 towns, like all these things, all like the entire region of the Star Sea, the Fallen Star Sea, that the inland, anyway, the southward towards Chult. Like, all these things can be built out using these mechanics at different scales, and it works great. It's such a great narrative device to explain how economics work without making it tedious. It's just a fucking die roll. Super easy. You don't worry about something until the characters pay attention to it. And then it's a mechanic that they're already familiar with. It's just ability checks with proficiency dice. Super simple. But since this isn't the type of energy that's being put into the game, people are bored with it. Like, this game doesn't do shit. It's like, this game does so much. It's just, it's not being used. These tools aren't being... We're not pushing them to 11 to push the boundaries of what we can do with the 5e game engine, and that's not really what Wizards of the Coast is designed to do. They're designed to basically set the bar of minimum standard that you can expect for a game, and they allow third-party content creators to dive in these couture design or like experimental ideas. But I just think that this mode of thinking, this 5-tier ability system, I think it's just such an elegant way to execute so many different styles of narrative that people don't typically think that the 5e D&D game is built for. The only reason they think that is because no one is introducing these ideas using these mechanics. Everyone would want to build a different game, but these mechanics are elegant. They're good. Remind me to make a video about fear and hope as a D&D game engine mechanic using proficiency dice, because it's really fucking effective. If you wanted to go that route and build your campaign around the implementation of fear and hope mechanics, you could completely do that with the 5e game engine. It's really easy to implement, but that's a different conversation. So back on track, right, guys? Yeah. So we know what these different facilities are. Now that we let's look at the settlement real quick, just to resolve business. Settlement. A settlement facility is the benefits that you get is multiple bastions can be built and maintained independently or collectively within a settlement as detailed, and we have a whole section about building settlements and stuff down below. And then the other facility benefit is that bastions attract creatures and NPCs to become residents of the settlement as detailed in the settlements section down below. There's a rate of population that automatically occurs depending on the size of the place at a different tempo. So if you build a place and you're able to keep it up and running long enough, just by the act of having materials move in and out of your settlement is naturally going to pull people to expand on the resources that are in that region to become a larger settlement. We were talking maybe an hour or so ago about when you have population exploding faster than the facilities and the bastion points can keep up with it, it creates civil unrest because there's too many people and not enough resources for them. And at the same time, if you have a whole bunch of resources but not enough people, those points tend to disappear and they get stripped off and you just kind of lose them because they're not being used. They get mothballed and then they just kind of atrophy. And business dies because there's not enough of a community to support that amount of wealth that's coming in. It just goes away. So you have those two, that balance. Like you want to keep your bastion points about in alignment with where your population is at. And those are all math that we break down at the front end of the book about how that works. So the order that you can issue to a settlement is the harvest order, which is you can issue the harvest order to acquire animal, mineral, or plant materials for crafting and empowering items of a rarity or value equal to the rank of the facility. So if we had a 5th rank settlement that's harvesting materials, it would be able to create 5th rank materials that could then be used to create 5th rank items, like a legendary magic item, or enough diversity and quality to be able to build an 80,000 gold hammerhead ship that, 250 foot long ship that's like fully decked out and like craftsman and all that prettiness to it. Like it's expensive to build that. We need the resources. The rank can either be the level of like exotic or rarity of the item. It could also just be the abundance of the material. Like if you're harvesting vegetation for food, like that's your order. We're harvesting this stuff for food, or we're harvesting this stuff for craft, or we're harvesting this stuff for empowering. Those are 3 different orders that you can issue from the general, like those are the 3 gears of harvesting. You're either harvesting for mundane stuff or magical stuff. So food would be considered non-magical material, like making a loaf of bread is a non-magical item. But we could also create magical loaves of bread that when you eat them do a potion, right? It doesn't have to be a liquid that you drink. It could be a sandwich. So whatever. But they could also, like vegetation material could also be like leather for armor, or silks, like spider silk for making rope or whatever. That'd be animal material, right? Animal material could also be food, but it could be like, leather, blah, 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 blah. You get it. So that's the harvest order. So we issue the harvest order to the settlements, and whatever the rank of the settlement is, there you go. Let's see. So we're going to put in here, it's going to be, we don't gain any specific benefits that ramp anything. Multiple bastions can be built and maintained. We can issue a number of harvest orders equal to the rank of the settlement. That is an exception. We don't need multiple settlements to be able to issue multiple orders. A settlement can have a number of resources, can have a number of harvest orders equal to the rank of the settlement. That's just something that's built in. Normally, like a game, like the laboratory, for instance, we can only issue one order to each laboratory. So we have 4 laboratories, each using their own points to have their own production line. A settlement's a little bit different. That's why it's the exception. But okay, those are our orders. We get 2 dice to maintain a lifestyle. So let's roll up and let's maintain our lifestyle. So that's going to be a D20 plus 1 plus a D4. I have to have at least a 10 if I don't want trouble. The answer I get is a 9 and a 3. I got a 12. So I need a first rank Bastion can only sustain a lifestyle for 1 week. And you roll lifestyles each week. So there's no sense in sustaining it. So that open point in that pocket, that's just open for me to use however I need to. So let's knock this stuff out of the way. Let's see, we're going to have a lifestyle. We're also going to have a harvest. I know we're going to use a harvest order because why else would we use a settlement? And then orders lifestyles are free, and then we get one more. So harvest is the only other order that we're getting right now, which is going to be harvest, settlement, vegetation, vegetable, plant materials. And the die roll that we're going to get for that is going to be D20 plus D4 plus 1 again. So let's see how we're doing here. I rolled a 1 on the D8 and I rolled an 18 on the D20. So fantastic. Harvest is results 19. No, 20 because first rank. Result 20. Plant material, result 20. What are we harvesting? Is it let's ask the dice. I'm going to roll some Oracle dice. So Oracle dice are 2D. For me, Oracle dice is basically it's like a coin toss or anything where you can ask a yes or a no. That'll give you a yes or no answer. You could roll a D6 and take odds or evens. The way that I like to do it is roll 2 6-sided dice. The first one is the question, the second one is the answer. The question is always a yes or no answer. And if I roll, like say on the question die, if I roll a 5, on the answer die I have to roll a 5 or a 6 for the answer to be true. If I roll 1, 2, 3, or 4, the answer is no. So when I ask questions, I frame them as yes or no's for the dice to respond to. And that's how I as a DM, both like in game prep like this, but also during the game when the team catches me off guard and they ask me a question I don't know the answer to, I will immediately own it. I don't know the answer to that. Like if I don't know the answer, I might have an idea what the answer is, but I don't actually know what the answer is. That was an area I didn't prep. I honestly don't know. And then I will pull out the Bastion dice. And most of the time, when the players catch me using Bastion dice like that, and I announce it, that means we're off the reservation and we can start fucking around. And that's where they start to get like, that's where the fourth pillar of play, the shenanigans, that's where shenanigans start to play out. A lot of people think that shenanigans are in the social pillar of adventure of D&D, and a lot of times it is, but in reality, shenanigans is its own tier, which is we don't care what gear of game we're playing in. We're just here to fuck around and find out right now, and just for the balls of it. So when I pull out Bastion dice, the players generally like it because they know that we're really exploring the campaign world because Phil doesn't know where we're going yet, and that's awesome. Sometimes I won't tell them, but if I have to roll the dice 4 or 5 times to get an answer, they know I'm rolling Oracle dice to find out what's going on. So I may as well just announce it so they know, so that they can enjoy and participate in what's happening. And usually they do, because they know that they can prod and push me sometimes they can push me into that space a little bit more, ask more questions and get answers. So here we go. I rolled a 6 on a 6. And I didn't even know what the question was, but I knew that the default question was, is it plant material that we're harvesting? The answer is yes. I knew that for a fact. But I rolled a 6 and 6, which means it was highly unlikely that they were. Like, the higher the question is, the less likely it is to be yes. If I rolled a 1 on the question, it's guaranteed to be a yes answer, because I can't roll below a 1 on a 6-sided die. So 1 means it's obviously going to be yes. But, like, say I rolled a 1 and a 6, that would be not only is it obvious, it's being executed in the most obvious duh way to do it. But like if it was a 1 and a 1, like not only it was super obvious that was the way to do it, but despite you only rolled a 1 for the answer, which means that you got it done, but in the worst way imaginable, with the most amount of difficulty, in the most clumsy way possible. It is somehow fulfilled. So like those dice, that's why I like using 2 6-sided dice together, because it creates this narrative about how well was this, like how easy was it to execute this, and how difficult or poorly did they actually, how well or poorly did they actually execute the task to accomplish the goal or to get that yes answer. It flavors it a lot. So I have a video about Bastion Die if you want to check out my my pre-recorded videos. I have like over 1,000 videos in my live channel stream, but if you go look at the actual video tab, there's like maybe 20 there, and Bastion, this Oracle dice idea is one of them. You can see that a little bit more if you're interested. So let's ask another question. So now we know it's vegetation, or it's plant material that we're looking for. Does this have to do with the forest? It was a 2 and a 6, so it was very likely that it was the forest, and they rolled a 6, so it's obviously a forest. So is the enclave, it already built this onto itself. So is this related to the gaming hall somehow? 4 and a 3 equals no. The gaming hall isn't actually being implemented right now. Is it, do they do prediction gambling on, like, say, frog races or something stupid like that? 2 and a 6, yes. Okay, so this Druid Enclave, its gaming hall is about like rabbit racing or like fox racing, where maybe the druids wild shape into those animals and compete against natural animals, trying to see if they can outperform, natural creatures in the forest, something like that. Maybe they have a sacristy, which gives you a charm. Is that what the sacristy did? Hold on, let's look at the sacristy again real quick. Oh no, it just gives you a spell. But you can craft and empower druid stuff. So it's druid stuff, but it doesn't give you. It's a sanctuary that gives you a bonus spell. So if they can get an extra bonus point in, they'll get a sanctuary so they can start putting charms on you. So then they'd be able to polymorph or like alter people into animals so that they can race directly. That might actually be really cool. So we'll keep that on. Like that's a thing that's coming perhaps for this place, but they're not there yet. So, but yeah. So they are attempting to preserve the forest. Are they trying to implement magic to prevent the cold snap from killing the forest? Yeah. 1 and a 3. So the Druid Enclave is actively acting to try to protect the forest from eroding. So they're using the harvest action to try to protect at least their enclave, their forest from being destroyed. Hey, what's up? That was the coolest idea to visualize while I was play Skyrim. Right on, man. Thanks. Yeah, like this is the kind of crap that we can throw together, right? Kind of fun. Like chocobo racing. Time for some more coffee, right? Actually, I'm going to get some more coffee. So, that's the Druid Grove. Now, to keep things interesting, we already know they succeeded at the maintained lifestyle die roll. So there's no complication there, but they are issuing the harvest order to see if they can protect their forest. So we're going to make a Bastion check to see if they have complications with that order. And if they do, when the players get interested, this is the problem that they're going to... We're basically pre-building problems for the characters to get involved with. So, how do you create... so let's do the harvest order. There's only first rank, so... yeah, we just rolled a DC 20, so that they have no complications. Let's add a Bastion event real quick, just for flavor, and see what happens with that. So, at the beginning of each Bastion turn, we roll an event die. And the event die flavors the events for the Bastion turn to modify the narrative of the complications that may arise. We don't have any complications this session, so we don't have to worry about flavoring any complications, but a lot of times events will give or take things away from us that could create complications on their own or provide a type of narrative around a theme activities when the characters engage with that facility. So let's go down here and look at our events. Like some events is like lose 6 Bastion points this turn. It's like, fuck, we can't, everything is down right now, but it'll be back up next week. Right now it's just down. Why? And then you figure that, and that becomes your processing. Creating adventure hooks and a flavor, direction, and intent inside of the campaign that's being randomly generated. And the more Bastion turns you process and the more things that happen, they just start fitting together. Like this thing happened and this thing happened. They're not actually connected because they're random. But the fun of building a campaign or like a microscope sort of game, especially with players actively involved, is you get to create the narrative bridge that connects the events from last week to the events of this current week and upcoming weeks down the road. So we have a constant, every week there's a new event that's flavoring what's going on. And sometimes it's really obvious that one event led to the next event, like you can see a very logical path. But when something radical changes, it's probably not progressing the path. It's probably introducing a whole new plot line or a new timeline of other interested parties engaging with. Now you have these 2 different threads that are kind of running, and neither one of them ever really disappear. They just kind of fall into the background or kind of just resolve themselves so that they become a non-thing, but they're always referenceable for new events and complications that arise because you're building this week by week history in basically a single statement. So D20. So it's a D20 roll. Low is bad, high is good. Some facilities allow you to roll multiple Bastion dice, and it's not like you keep the best roll, it's just you have a whole bunch of shit happening all at once. Like if you have an active teleportation circle, that adds an additional Bastion turn through the teleportation circle. If you have a planar gate, that creates an additional event each week through the planar gate. I think there's others, but I can't recall what it is. But okay, cool, so let's roll. I rolled a 12. Middle of the road. Probably interesting, but nothing too beneficial. Definitely not detrimental. This is a noble patron. So there's 3 different, basically like 3 different modes that these Bastions operate in. If you've been paying attention, the actual like structure, like your team owns a keep, that would be a Bastion. So that's referred to like an actual Bastion. In this case, we're looking at the Druid's Enclave. It is itself a Bastion. But if we were doing a settlement issue, like if the settlement as a whole, in this case the Enclave is so small that it's not actually its own settlement. It has a settlement facility, so it has land that it controls outside of its walls instead of inside of its walls. And you have the option of populating it, but they're not actively pursuing it. It's pretty new. It's a very low rank, so it's very low key, very quiet, very modest. It's not drawing a lot of attention. It's not doing a lot of stuff. However, since it's operating as a bastion, but there's also armies. And basically, armies are mobile bastions. And the number of bastion points that are put into it determines the scale of the army and the amount of damage that army can do. And depending on what its mobility is, will determine how far it can go per week during a single bastion turn. And it becomes, if you are extended beyond the reach of the employing bastion, the commanding bastion of that army, you then have to establish a supply line that costs bastion points to sustain a number of bastion points equal to the number of weeks distance it has away from getting supplies from its commanding bastion. You see, so like if I have an army, a 3rd rank army of like 2,000 soldiers that are attacking a nearby nation, and that nearby nation is, say, 5 weeks march away, at 3rd rank, I either need to have 15 bastion points to establish 5 weeks worth of supply chain valued of 3 points each to get that distance to keep that army supplied, or that army has to settle and deploy its facilities to feed itself, or they have to plunder nearby settlements that have their own resources and damage those facilities to take that for themselves, to feed themselves, but they're always temporary hit points. So an army that's going through terrain and plundering to supply its lifestyle is destroying basically all the bastions that it runs across along the way. So it deals damage to that settlement or that bastion, and as a result of it, it collects the plunder from that, which is either just raw food and materials for it to take care of itself, or like in a bastion, like wealth that it can then spend to get the supplies, or if its commanding patron is capable of investing a number of bastion points necessary to establish it, then its lifestyle will be sustained as it continues to travel. But you could also like make a trade agreement with your army and a neighboring settlement that has the resources to support it. Maybe you can strike a deal of like, we're going to go siege this orc nation fortress, and if we do that, you will now not have to worry about orcs invading your territory, and we'll be able to pay you X amount of bastion points depending on how much wealth we extract from that orc fortress. That could then become your characters going on a stealth mission to sabotage the commander of that fortress before there's an official attack. Or you can say, I don't want to mess with it as characters, we're just going to deal with it as a siege, and then this next bastion turn, instead of moving or settling, your army attacks that bastion or that settlement, and there's basically an attack roll using the same bastion mechanics. And if you're successful, and if the defenses can roll dice to neutralize the damage that you deal, and if any of your damage gets through to the facilities, then the facilities are damaged, but the defender chooses what gets damaged. So like your walls may hold, but like all your food supply gets destroyed. So now you're going to slowly starve out until you can repair those points. But if you send saboteurs in, if the mission is successful, they will deal bastion points of damage to the facility, and since it was sabotage, you get to choose what gets destroyed. It's like, we're here to stop Grumsh from making the Eye of Death that its High Cleric is going to use, that whoever it looks upon dies. Like basically an ongoing power word kill when you're within 30 feet of it. He's just going to walk through town and start slaughtering people. Well, we don't want you to make that magic item, so we're going to siege your fortress and send a sabotage team in specifically to take out your sacristy so that Grumsh can't build that artifact. And now we've prevented the Eye of Grumsh from being created, right? So that's like a mission thing that you could do. And when you're successful with your mission, you'll extract out, and then at the Bastion scale, we're going to deal like, that sounds like that sounds like a 13th level quest. Considering the stuff that's involved with it, it's probably 13th rank, so that means you'd roll a d10, and that's the amount of bastion points of damage you're going to deal to the sacristy. But you'd have to be 5th rank to be able to create that item because it's legendary, right? So that means that any points lost prevents it from reaching that 5th rank status. So even 1 point will disrupt the ritual, and they're now no longer guaranteed to be able to continue it, especially while you're laying siege on them. They can't reestablish things because they're under siege. They're having to devote all their resources to prevent you from burning the place down. So in the background, you can lay siege to a location and then zoom in with your characters to take out specific facilities inside of that structure and have appropriate CR creatures trying to prevent you from sabotaging. You see how that works? Or you can just pan out and just make a single die roll. Okay, great. You siege the place. At the end of the turn, you issued 3 orders to siege the fortress. You have a 3rd rank army, so you can issue 3 orders. All orders are siege, siege, siege. So if you hit your, and it's a 5th rank Bastion, so its DC is 30. So if you hit armor class 30 with your Bastion check, you can deal D8 points of damage. And since I had 3 orders available, I'm going to make that attack roll 3 times this Bastion turn. And if all of them hit, I'm going to do 3d8 damage. Meanwhile, the facility, the fortress, is burning dice to try to reduce however much damage that is. And if they can keep the, like Monk Deflect Attack, each order I issue allows me to roll 1 die to neutralize damage. And if I can zero out the damage, I was able to hold you off in my siege. If you did damage to me, I then get to choose what got destroyed inside of my Bastion that I can no longer use now. Which is why you want to have a pocket of Bastion points basically on hold. So if you do take damage, it can eat the pocket of spare points or reserve first before you actually have to start damaging. Like, you could destabilize your lifestyle, you could erode it from, like, if it was wealthy and you take 2 points, it could erode from wealthy to comfortable to poor, comfortable to modest. And now you're living modest. Like, they just, like, stray fire destroyed your store, so your store hold. So now you have less good food. Now we're rationing, so we're operating at a lower level lifestyle now, for instance. Or, like, you destroyed the sacristy. You took it from 5 points down to 0, and there's 2 points left over. Let's take out the smithy as well. Let's reduce that down 2 points. So when you're doing, but it's the defender. So when you are the saboteur, you need accurate information about what facilities are inside of that bastion for you to sabotage, which means you can use the spy network to research the different facilities that are inside the bastion so you know what you're targeting and what rank they are for you to attack. So you have a mission going in, the DM can then prepare the map, and it becomes a heist mission where you're going in to destroy something and get out. You could then use your gaming hall to get Bastion dice as bardic inspiration for your whole team to use while you're trying to avoid traps and pass stealth checks to get past soldiers, and to actually set up the explosives or whatever to sabotage that facility and then try to get out before you get caught. And along the way, if you fail any of these skill checks, it's just a normal 5e adventure. You got called out, you're now dealing with orcs attacking you inside the facility, and you know you're in your dungeon wall and blah blah. It's just a dungeon adventure at that point inside of a fortress. But the DM can prepare at these different levels to know what is the objective of this sabotage, of attacking this. I'm attacking the siege, I'm doing the siege tower, so all of its attention is on the troops, so we can sneak a team in to sabotage the facility that we know is in there and that we need to take out. And then we get out, and then the war is over, and we extract our troops to go back, and the characters could then, like, take over that fortress and make it a new bastion and start investing points into it to take it over, to become their facilities and their fortress, to push the front line of where your civilization is at compared to the Orc Nation, for example. But all this is using all these mechanics that we've already been talking about this session. This is like the Pirates of Lazar are attempting to raid and destroy resources in our settlements so that they can steal them as plunder, so that the pirates can continue to grow, because they're fighting the Unseelie Court. So they have to raid all these settlements so that they can get more resources, so that they can continue fighting the Fae. Otherwise, they're just going to get driven out of the sky, and the Fae will become your problem. And the Lazar pirates are like, look, there's actually a problem here. I know that we're not being very friendly about it. We're fucking pirates. What are you going to do? But we're keeping your ass from getting mauled by Drow right now, so thank us later, right? It's like they have a point that they're trying to make, and your team, your players can decide, that's awesome, I want to get involved with that, and then you go recruit with the pirates and you start fighting Fae. But this particular campaign, we're protecting these villages from the Pirates of Lazar. Maybe we know they're fighting the Fae, maybe we don't. All of us that are listening in here, we know this, but that's okay. That's not like a particular spoiler. What happens during the adventure is the excitement. We want the players to have as much information about the environment and what's going on as needed for them to be able to help you sculpt answers. So you can't keep everything to yourself when you're inviting in the players to help build storylines with you, that they then get to choose to either take adventures and spin it the way that the DM does, or if they just want to resolve it with these bastion checks and just keep spinning through stuff until they find something interesting and then focus on that. So it has these different levels of play. Hopefully that makes sense. So Bastion, Prestigious Noble offers recurring adventure hooks. Roll 1d6 each Bastion turn. So each Bastion turn is 1 to 6. You're under attack. plundered resources, unnatural weather, rival blockade, labor loss, desperate travelers. So each turn, if you accept this patron, offers recurring adventure hooks. So basically, if you accept this patron, every Bastion turn, this guy is going to, you'll roll a separate D6 inside here. And one, like, for example, rival blockade. A rival army prevents trade, harvest, maintain, and recruit order as a complication unless bribed for 1 die of Bastion points, which you lose permanently. Like this noble says, hey, this is what I'm dealing with right now. If you want to help me, I'd rather give you Bastion points than lose this many Bastion points to the Marauders and potentially have it happen again. So I'm willing to pay you Bastion points as a reward. And depending on the tier of the rank of your Bastion is going to determine the value of that Bastion point. When like if I'm a first rank Bastion and a third rank Bastion is offering me Bastion points as loot, it's just 3 points and I spend those points. But if you look at it in comparison, like a first rank, each point is worth 100 gold, 1,000 gold, 10,000 gold, 100, 1,000, 10,000. 100, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, 1 million. So, like Waterdeep, when Waterdeep gains a Bastion point, it is basically injecting 1 million gold pieces into its economy with 2,000 people circulating that wealth. That makes sense. A hamlet that gains a Bastion point basically got a flood of 100 gold pieces to the 5 houses that are in that area. Wow, we are fucking flooded. Let's build a smithy. This is awesome. And now we have a whole new facility available. We're becoming a real town. Look at us. Like, that's a big deal. And all the spaces in between. So if you wanted to, you could convert a Bastion point into gold pieces. But more realistically, at low levels, you're using gold to generate Bastion points. Because you want to get to 2nd, 3rd, 4th rank as fast as you can. Even if your character is still only 1st, 2nd, or like 1st, 5th, or 9th level, even if you're low level, you want to rank up your Bastion as fast as possible. So those facilities are there for you as your characters continue to grow into the size of the Bastion. So at 1st level, if you got a 500 gold treasure, you could spend all of that gold to get 5 Bastion points in your first rank Bastion, and get like an extra 5 facilities. Or Jesus. Issue like 3 new orders, like get 2 new Bastions and issue 3 new orders each turn with those. Like, you're flooded right now. You've got so much stuff. You're going to pop and you're going to grow. So like that's a fun, or you can take one of those Bastion points and then with the auction house, you can auction it off to get gold. And depending on the result of the die roll is the percent of value that you get. So like if you roll a 30, you'll get 100% value of that point. So like if Waterdeep auctions off a Bastion point and hits a DC 30, they've just flooded their coffers with 1 million gold. There you go. But it costs them a Bastion point, so now they have one less Bastion point. But they could also take that 1 million gold and then just poof, liquefy. Like it disappears into the economy. And as a result, you get 1 extra Bastion point. So you see, at 100, 1,000, 10,000, by the time you get to 10,000, the 3rd rank, 10,000 gold per Bastion point, at that point, you're no longer accumulating gold anymore. At that point, you're doing adventures for Bastion points. I'm going to hire you to assassinate the king, and if you do, I'm going to reward you 4 Bastion points of resources to either build a new location or to embellish a Bastion that you already have. But here's 4 permanent Bastion points that you can apply to any Bastion or settlement that you have control over. So that gives you, those Bastion points continue to ramp up in cost, but once you get past thousands of gold pieces in value around level 5 to 8 or 9, why do you need gold anymore? Just build a smithy and a workshop to make the magic items that you need and use those Bastion points to sustain a wealthy lifestyle so you can afford to make those items. Because you can make them quick. Nothing takes more than 1 season to make with this system. That's pretty fast, considering that you can just hit the fast forward button and skip adventuring until it's done. But then you get to have, like, did any big events happen over the past season that is now an adventure you can go on to resolve while you wait for those turns to end. So like maybe 1 or 2 adventures later and your magic item is done and you get to do the thing that you wanted to do with it, but you had like this side quest filler time that you can do character development or like settle grudges and shit while you wait for it. Because it's a living, breathing campaign that you're generating through these random rolls. Hopefully that makes sense. So we have a patron. Let's see, event. Patron offers adventure hooks each week. Basically, he's offering himself to be a handler for your skilled team of druids. Is basically what that is. Event equals 1d6 per turn added event, which you can choose to take or not. And I'm not even going to bother rolling it because we don't need to worry about that until we get into it. Actually, let's go ahead and roll it just to see what's there for us to keep in mind as we're prepping shit through. So roll a d6. I rolled a 2. Plundered resources for a bastion. That means and this is a patron. So I'm gonna roll a d6 divided by 2 to see what gear it's in. It's either an army, bastion, or settlement. A 5. So this patron has control over a settlement, and it is saying that there's raiders stealing materials. Deal 1 bastion die of damage to the lifestyle of the settlement. Okay, we've been talking about pirates of Lazar raiding these communities, and this is the capital that we're talking about. So, let's see. Current adventure hook equals pirates have dealt damage to capital rock and needs new defenses. Something like that. And they think that the druids can help. Interesting that they do. If the druids feel they can help, they can engage with it. If they if they're interested, like if they're not interested but can do it, then they can make a bastion check out of it. If they're not interested and like if they don't want to get involved, they can just skip it. And then next week there might be something different. We'll see what happens. Or that complication could continue, and there could be more and more pressure being put on. Things are unraveling. We need help. Will you help us? But that sounds like the type of thing that the characters would want to get involved in. But that completes Druid's Enclave. So let's now create the smithy, shall we? So it's second rank, so it's going to have anywhere from 11 to 20 points. So I'm going to roll a d10 plus 10. I rolled a 5, so it's going to have 15 points. And we're going to go with facilities. Installing facilities is obviously going to have a smithy. And it's second rank, so the smithy is going to be second rank. And we need to find a name. But we have 15 points, so I want a pocket of at least 2. And since the second rank, it's likely that it's going to be able to hit a comfortable lifestyle. So I'm going to actually keep a pocket of 5 points. Now, actually, let's make a pocket of 2, and then let's do lifestyle, hoping for 3, because we have to make because a second rank settlement can sustain a lifestyle for a month. So if we can hit a wealthy lifestyle, we'd have to spend 4 points. A comfortable lifestyle costs 3, modest is 2, poor is 1. So we can maintain a lifestyle for a month. So if we get a modest lifestyle, we can put 2 points in, but then next week we could issue an additional order to try again. And since we're already sustaining that modest lifestyle, if we roll below 15, we can ignore that. We just had to waste an order trying for better. But if we rolled again the following week and then locked in on a comfortable lifestyle, we could then spend that extra point for third rank lifestyle to sustain now a comfortable lifestyle, and then we're going to lock it. So that'll remain for 4 turns. So 4 turns later, we're going to have to make a new die roll. And when we get to town, like a first rank can't sustain anything. Everything gets re-rolled every week. Once you get to second rank, it's every month. Third rank is every month. Fourth and fifth rank are every season. So scaling up in rank gives you more sustainability. It's a much larger piece of machinery and a lot more commerce that once it builds momentum, it has the potential to keep that momentum if we invest the points into it. If it collapses, the entire society is going to feel that collapse coming down. And whenever your lifestyle erodes, even if it's still poor, like when I went from wealthy to comfortable, my lifestyle has just dropped. That automatically creates a complication no matter what. Even though it's not actually risking our community with a squalid or a wretched lifestyle, but we eroded our life quality, and that creates unrest in anybody's home or any society. So it creates a complication that could be resolved by improving the lifestyle, or through a mission of some sort, or a specific task that the community wants performed that will randomly roll to determine what that is. You see how you can just constantly roll these complications and create these cascading results. It's super fun. Super fucking fun. So let's keep building this stuff out. We got our facilities. We got our stuff there. We'll have orders. We can issue 3 orders. 1 is lifestyle, and 2 are going to just be whatever. So lifestyle, maybe maintain, and then we have 1, and then we have another 1. And then we'll have the Bastion event, and then if we have complications, we list the complications after the event. So that's our stack. So we've got 15 points to spend, and I've got like maybe 30 minutes left, so I don't know if we're going to get this done today or not, honestly. But I'm just going to go ahead and keep on. But if anyone has any questions, this is a great time to ask them, because we're getting to we're going to start wrapping stuff up here in the next half hour. So I'm just going to roll. We're at 2nd rank. I'm just going to roll some Bastion some Bastion facilities randomly just to see what's there. 2nd rank. So when you're 2nd rank, you can have a 2nd rank facility, and you can have either 1st or 2nd rank facilities both. A 2nd rank facility can itself be 1st to 5th rank. You just can't get it until your Bastion is 2nd rank. Like, for example, I can have an armory at 1st rank, and then I can keep ranking it up and become better. But like, I can't get a demi-plane until I'm a 5th rank facility. But when I get that demi-plane, at first it's only a 1st rank demi-plane, which means it's small in size. And as I put more points into it, it can expand and do more stuff. Demi-planes manipulate time so you can complete tasks faster. A demi-plane is like a settlement inside of a pocket dimension, that you can build facilities inside there, and its time stream moves differently. So any facility that's inside of a demi-plane, and any supporting facilities that will help execute orders of that demi-plane. Like if I put a smithy inside of a demi-plane, and then put a workshop and a guild hall in there with it, all of like, say, 3rd rank inside of a 3rd rank demi-plane, I would then be able to create 3rd rank magic items in not a month, a week. If it takes a week, it's reduced to a day. If it takes a month, it's reduced to a week. If it takes a season, it's reduced to a month. So month, week, day, week, month, season. Those are basically the day, week, month, season. Those are the 4 time frames of basically creating anything in the system, assuming you're of an appropriate rank. You could build a 250,000 gold castle with a 1st rank mason, but he can only process 100 gold pieces of castle each week until he gains rank. Or you get a shitload more people working together, like get 40 1st rank masons working together. They'll be able to do 4,000 gold worth of work on that castle per week, which is still shit. It's going to take them for fucking ever. What do you expect? It's just 40 1st rank masons trying to build an entire castle. It's going to take time. But the higher rank you get in your, say, in your guild hall and workshop, the easier it is for you to be able to mass produce or create massive structures. So you see how that's all folding together? It all works inside that same game curve. And once we publish this on the DMsGuild, it's going to be 100%. You'll be able to read the entire thing as a preview. All the books that I have linked down below, all of them have 100% free preview. You don't buy my books to read them. You read my books, and then you buy them because you like the work and you want me to keep doing it. So whatever gets sold the most generally tends to be what I build the most. The color mana spell point variant rules is what sells the most by far of everything that I've done. But Spelljammer is second place. I'm really wondering if the Bastion campaign is going to kick up past both of those as just a general useful campaign utility. But we'll see. So if you like this stuff, go read it all my books, check them all out. And ask me questions on my Discord. That's also linked down below. If you can't afford a book, you can always follow me on Patreon for $1. That's a great way. And over a year, you'll pay me $12. So that'd be one book. So if that's the way that you want to play, God bless you. Yeah, I have to build things. So I just want people to, like, the most difficult thing it is for a small creator like me is just to get people to fucking read your shit. Don't even bother about people paying for it. Like, you gotta earn the money, right? We all have to earn our fucking place. So I would rather show you what it is and trust that if it jives with you, it's so cheap that it's like, yeah, I'll build this because I'm gonna like you'll get all the the assets and all the tokens or all the maps or all the play mats or the processing sheets or all the tools that come along with the download. If it's something you actually like and you want to implement, you want all the tools that I've built for you to actually make it easy to use. So that's me done shilling for the second. Thank you guys. Let's go ahead. So there's 27 first and second rank facilities combined. And to get a range of 1 to 27, we roll 3d6 plus 12 minus 3. That's 4 dice, minus 3 equals 1. And then 18 plus 12 equals 30, minus 3 is 27. So to get a range of, I could just go to random.org and type in a range of 1 to 27, enter. But what was so fun about first edition Monster Manual and the old BX books is they'd be like, you encounter like 30 to 450 orcs. And here's the dice, and then they have parentheses, here's the dice that you roll to get that number. And I loved that. I loved that you would be able to combine and add or subtract from dice to create different results. If you go check out my Spelljammer Combat and Exploration document down below, it has random system generators like planets and like sides of systems and stuff. And it does all sorts of stuff to manipulate dice that way. Like it has like a list of like 1 to 12 different types of monsters. And if you're on this type of planet, roll 1d6. Or like if you're on this type of planet, roll 1d10 plus 2. Like to get these different variable results. I use that type of formula and mathematics all throughout the book. So you don't need a calculator or a computer. If you have the document in hand, you can just use clackety dice and get the accurate number rolling for you. So anyway, I love that stuff. I geek out over it. So let's roll up some Bastions while we still have a little bit of time, and I haven't completely just talked myself. I completely rambled my way through this shit. Hold on real quick. I have to think real fast. Right. Okay. So I've got my dice. Let's roll to see what we get. It's minus 3. So I got a 10 on my D12 and 14. So that's a total of 24 minus 3 is 21. So let's trace down. Spy Network. Oh, Spy Network. Fucking cool. I love it. Okay. So we have a Spy Network. I'm going to give them 2 points because good. Spy Network. And this is primarily a smithy. What the fuck is going on here already? Like, this is already weird. Let's keep rolling and filling in the answers. I'm sure it'll all make sense in the end. I rolled a 4 on my D3, on my D6s, and a 10 again on my D12. That's 14 minus 3 is 11. So this is going to be a laboratory. Cool. And are we going to call this, I'm going to roll a D6. 1 to 3 is 1. 4 to 6 is second rank. Second rank. Laboratory. And let's roll again. I mean, you could just choose what facilities, and obviously if a player builds a Bastion, they can just pick from here which one they want, but we're randomly generating worlds to create adventure ideas that the team can fuck around with. Yeah, because the animals are, sorry man, I didn't answer you. I go on tears for a while, but I eventually make my way back to the chat channel. But yeah, having like testing yourself against like, can your logic and thinking as a human outperform the instincts of this deer? Good luck. Beat the deer in a race or whatever. Let's roll again. I got a 5 on the D12 and a 8. 5 plus 8 is 13. Minus 3 is 10. And why did I skip? How did I fucking skip 10? Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, here it is. No, yeah, there. Is that right? No. Here. What happened? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It looks like I skipped 10 on accident, so my numbers are. We'll keep what we have. But we have to fix this. Boy, that was dumb. 12, 13. Is my life alive right now? Are those numbers actually accurate? 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Uh-oh, my math is off. All of a sudden, math bad. 20, 21, 22, 23. That's okay. This is a work in progress. 24. This book's going to be badass. For those that are new to the channel and that don't know, I do artwork Monday through Friday in the morning. I illustrate the books that I build. I've been a freelance illustrator in the RPG industry since 1999. I'm not very famous, but you know, hey, whatever. I just don't have a lot of business acumen, I guess. So my solution to getting having better art gigs was to actually start making books. And then illustrate my books. Instead of hiring myself out to illustrate other people's books, I now build books and I can make them exactly the way I want to, because I can do game design, I can write. I tend to not edit my own work, just because it's good to have a third opinion. I can edit, but I really have to separate myself from the work to do it well. It's often better just to hire an editor. But once the editing is done, I can also do the page layouts and all the artwork for the books. So any of the books I have linked down below, I designed, wrote, hired an editor, did the page layouts, and then the artwork, and I built all of that. So in the mornings, we're currently building an Eberron adventure for 7th, 8th level characters, and we're fighting undead demons and necromancers in the Carnwood of Carnath on the continent of Corvair, for those that know. And so we basically built an adventure from scratch. I had a co-writer with me, Andy Healy. He does a lot of Call of Cthulhu stuff, so it was perfect for undead type of stuff. It was great. So we built out the scenario. We built all the maps and stuff. We play tested it. We hired DMs to play test it for us and gave us feedback. Integrated all of that, fixed it, hired Stuart Bras, of all people, to be our editor for the adventure. He is a librarian of Eberron. He's like an Eberron sage and does a lot of Eberron editing and technical work. So I was really proud to get him on task. But he helped edit the thing and then hand it back, and then I rebuilt all the text to fit on the pages. That the entire book is just control panels of all the information you need about whatever you're dealing with is on that one page. Flip the page. So we built out the entire adventure to be able to fit on page to page to page and make sense with whatever it is that you're looking at. And once we built that out, then we started doing all the artwork, and we're almost done. Like in another 2 or 3 weeks, we'll be done with that book. And then we'll be completely switching gears to building different books, and like this, and the Spelljammer subclasses, and the Mecha Kaiju book, and the martial powers color mana system, the Spelljammer encounters. We got like 5 different books that we have on task that we want to build out, and we also want to update the color mana system from 2014 to 2024. So I actually have about 9 books that I need to do work on, and with God's grace, I'll get it done by the end of 2027, and then maybe I'll start doing Kickstarter stuff. Who knows? But yeah, for people that like this type of stuff, I will eventually be illustrating this book Monday through Friday in the morning. So I illustrate for about an hour and a half in the mornings, and then I go to my day job, and then I come back in a couple nights a week. I do game design like this on stream, but I'm always working on stuff off camera. So good times. All right, so we're fixing this list here. That goes to 24, 25, 26. So there's not 27 things. Apparently there's only, I'm going to double check this real quick just to make sure we did it right. 2, 1, dot. Okay, so we actually have 26 things. That panned out. So we're gonna have to change this to 26, which means we have to change our math over here. So if I want to get a score of 1 to 26, how can I get to like 28 or 29? If I want to get to 20, okay, let's try this. 2d12 plus d10 minus 2. That'll give us a range of 1, and the end result will be up to... no, that's going to be too high. Yeah, I did that wrong. Maybe... okay, so 2d... that takes us to 24. I need 2 more. So we could do 2d12. So 12, that's 24, that's 28 minus 2. Yeah, so a d4 plus 2d12. That'll give us the answer that we need. There we go, we found it. Good job, guys. And yeah, d12s are the oh, nope, there's my second d12. And the d4. So I rolled on the d4, I rolled a 3. And on the d12s, I rolled a 5 and a 10. That's 15. 18 minus 2, 16. So the next result is 16. And that is a sanctuary. Is that going to be first or second rank? First rank. Sanctuary. And we can roll another one. I rolled a 1 and a 9, that's 10, and a 1, so that's 11, minus 2 is 9. And that is a guild hall. That makes sense. I'm going to automatically make that second rank because guild hall and smithy go hand in hand. They complement each other. So that's, what is that, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 out of 15 points. 10, 11, 14. So I have room for one more facility. We'll do one more facility, and then we'll be capped. A 2, a 6, that's 8, and a 4. 2, 6, 8, that's 14. Minus 2 is 12, which is a meditation chamber. Is it first or second rank? Second rank. Meditation chamber. Let's put you here. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 facilities that are second rank. Initially, when we built this, it was coming in as a smithy. But we don't necessarily need it to be. So I'm gonna roll. I'm gonna ask the Oracle dice. Is it still a smithy or is it actually something else? So the question is it still a smithy? And I rolled a 5 for the question. 4 was the answer. So 4 is less than 5. The answer is no. So now I'm gonna roll a d10 and divide by 2. And I rolled a 7. So that's a 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the actual answer now is 1, 2, 3. It's now actually a spy network. That's funny because spy network was what excited me the most when we saw this. So now it's a spy. Its base function is a spy network inside the city of Capital Rock. But what else does it have? It's got the guild hall and smithy. It's got the meditation chamber, laboratory. Sanctuary and meditation chamber always feel similar to each other. The laboratory is made for building stuff. The smithy builds stuff. The guild hall facilitates building stuff. The spy network finds out information about rivals or threats within its reach. Let's see. Is this a... ooh, I just ran out of music. I've been streaming for so long. My Epidemic stream just ran dry. So let's fire that up again. Right on. thanks a lot for people that are hanging out and checking this stuff out today. I really appreciate it. If folks are interested, you like, subscribe, hit the bell icon for notifications, all that stuff. I stream game design Mondays and Thursday nights. I do artwork Monday through Friday in the mornings. And then currently I do a stream on Saturday mornings, but that's typically when I do playtesting. So anyone that's interested in subscribing, I'm around a lot. If you think this stuff is cool, I'll be doing this for at least another few years, assuming that God doesn't take me. So yeah, jump in the pit if you like. My Discord channel is free access. Here's all the material that we've been using today. The campaign workbench that we've been writing in. Here's the Bastion campaign work in progress that we've been rolling dice inside of. Here's the subclasses I built. Here's the Spelljammer book that I published on DMsGuild that we built last year. And here's the subclasses that we've been designing specifically to use with this combat system. And then here's the Kaiju Constructs book that we built for the Mecha that we're running around the Kaiju. Next week, we'll be building more Kaiju, more ships and pirates, and more Mecha using the Spelljammer system for us to fight giants and giant-sized creatures and stuff. So it'll be a little bit of shift of gear. We'll come back to Bastions eventually, but I expect to spend some time doing Spelljammer mechanics during this time period, in this time slot next week. So let's see. These are our facilities, or primarily a spy network. What was I asking? Okay, so the three major cultures that are in this community are Dwarf, Gnome, and Warforged. There can be a few like PC style special flower characters if they want to be a different species, but the majority of the residents in this cluster are Gnome, Dwarf, and Warforged. Warforged are all over the place in wild space. They don't have to breathe, so they don't have to worry about poisoned air. So they can operate anywhere that they want, just like gargoyles can. So they're natural, and they lost their homes. In my campaigns, Warforged are recycled souls from Sire. So the Sirens, when they created the Warforged in House Cannith in Sire, they didn't know that's what they were doing, but they were basically taking souls of their nation and recycling them back into these bodies. That's why they act like humans, because they were once. But they lose their memory when it happens. In one of our campaigns, one of the background is, I remember I used to be somebody else, and that inspired the idea. God bless you, George. What a fucking awesome hook. So we built the entire campaign around the team were Warforged, and their whole goal was to rescue Warforged that didn't know the war ended, that were still under what they thought were orders to kill anyone that comes through this ravine or whatever. They would go in and try to talk the Warforged down to giving up their weapons, and then convert them into allies, and then use the ritual for them to remember who they used to be, so that they could decide for themselves, do they want to have this fresh start, or do they want to try to reclaim who they used to be? And over the course of a 20-level campaign, they basically awoke the entire Warforged population, and they all now know that their home nation of Sire was destroyed, and they have to rebuild from scratch, because no one ever really wants... If anyone believed that the Warforged were actually recycled Siren souls, there would be potential political issues. So no one is willing to accept it. So the Warforged have to start again from new. But now that they knew who they were, they know what they're capable of doing. And they took the one place where there's new opportunities for them to become limitless, which is in orbit, mining asteroids for wealth and building cultures out there. So that's what our Warforged are doing in our campaign. So fucking fun. Super fucking fun shit. So yeah, Spy Network. So it's going to be 1, 2, or 3. It's either going to be a Warforged network, a Gnomish built network, or a Dwarven network. Let's roll. I rolled a 1, so it's a Warforged. So let's call it. Let's call it. Is it? Ooh. The core. In my campaigns, Warforged are not only the souls of Sirens, but their soul is held in a docent. And the docent is like a little crystal. And we know docents from Eberron. They're things that you can plug into a Warforged's body. and they basically get a sentient magic item that knows different skills or speaks different languages or provides a feat to your character. They're basically like plug and play skill options and stuff. Well, these artificial intelligences are sirens that were bound into the Warforged crystal, and you plug the crystal into a Warforged that animates the suit of Warforged, and now you can operate like a person. But you can also take that docent out of the Warforged frame. It falls inert, and you can take it and you can plug it into a tank, or like a steel defender, or like if you take 4 or 5 docents together and you can plug them into a hunter-killer hovercraft that hunts people in space or whatever. You could also plug it into a mainframe computer that operates a facility that's been built into the side of a mountain, overseeing the opening and closing of doors, activating or disabling traps, automating eldritch cannons that operate without the need of crew to man and fire the weapon, because the docents as artificial intelligences are operating these Warforged facilities. So all the Warforged fighter craft don't have cockpits. They just have like an R2-D2 unit just like plugs in. Like if you imagine giving R2-D2 control of an AT-AT by just having it sit in and like plug into the AT-AT, and now R2-D2 is running around as a 30-foot ostrich with laser cannons, that's basically what the docents do. You could plug a docent into an R2 unit and now it's basically like a service droid. But the default is the artificial body that Warforged are commonly known as, with their 3 fingers, to act as weapons of war, but you can craft them in any way. Now that they've been awakened, they're resculpting their technology to make use of the fact that our sentience is actually in this plug-and-play crystal. So that's the idea. So that's what this campaign, like if you're playing a docent, you could build different, like with your rank and empowerment abilities in a workshop, you can customize bodies for yourself. As you gain ranks and higher levels, you can basically plug yourself into like higher CR creatures. Like at 17th level, plug yourself into an iron golem. So now your character is basically an iron golem. So fun stuff like that. Which sounds impressive, but when you have a dwarf next to you in a 50-foot mecha, I mean, it's punching as hard as your iron golem is. You're just a 15-foot iron golem, which is super dense and magically potent. But the gnome over there is like in a 50-foot arachnid. Your dwarf is in a 50-foot dwarf unit. Blah 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 blah. You can design your own mecha. So Spy Network, the core. This is a salvaged drone network facility that can pilot ornithopters It's only second rank, so it's not it's not huge, but they're trying to expand it. So our spy network is basically a collection of drones that the docents plugged into the central intelligence can work together to operate various drones as basically one hit point bodies that they can use remotely to basically scry our arcane eye with, to be able to buzz around and see things that are going on Capital Rock. Like that's a pretty high fucking tech piece of machinery they've got going on there. So it's been salvaged from the Mournland and brought out here to protect the technology from being abused by the fleshers that are still on the planet. But the Warforged trust the dwarves and the gnomes because both of them are massive about building and crafting stuff. They recognize the quality and the sincerity of the people in Sire, that they reached for the sun and got horribly burned. And they don't hold that against them. They're willing to believe that they're from Sire because they're not human. They don't have any real stake in the game. They don't have a problem with identifying and acknowledging, but since the other human nations aren't willing to believe that the Sirens have returned in metallic bodies that were built for them, they got outcast. So they got accepted by the dwarven and gnomish communities. So those three work together really well in orbit. So that's the idea anyway. So there we go. That's the core. And so we have our Smithy Guild Hall. Let's look real quickly at what kind of benefits we get from these. The guild hall might provide us with a benefit. I think the guild hall is just good for crafting stuff in general, but let's see. Issuing a craft order to create a non-magical item, you can roll an additional bastion die. So let's take that to there, and that to there. That's going to be +1 die to craft checks. Crafting makes non-magical stuff regardless of how expensive it is. And Empower makes magic items regardless of how inexpensive it is. Holy Water is technically crafting, but it's really riding the edge. Healing potions are also technically like in that crafting space. It's kind of hurly-jurly. Anyway, meditation chamber. We haven't looked at the meditation chamber yet, so let's go play with that real quick. When issuing any Empower order at all to create a magic item, you can roll an additional bastion die. So +1 die to Empower checks. Some of them are like only when you're doing this sort of thing, or only when you're issuing, like empowering these type of items. Let's turn that off, and it's 9:30. I think we have enough time to finish this, so let's try finishing it real quick. Let's go down to the Menagerie, Guild Hall, Laboratory. Laboratory is nearby. Let's grab that. Laboratory doesn't boost any die rolls, but Sage Knowledge, a character that spends a bastion turn of downtime activity using this facility gains the benefit of a Legend Lore charm. Oh, that's the library. Sorry, Laboratory. There it is. When issuing the Harvest order to acquire material, any material, whether it's plant, animal, or mineral, you can roll an additional bastion die. +1 die to harvest checks. A lot of, like the greenhouse gives you a +1 die to harvest plant materials. A stable or a menagerie gives you a +1 to harvest animal materials. A smithy and workshop gives you a +1 die to harvest minerals, for example. So some of them are limited, but the laboratory can do any of them because it's using alchemical processes to treat leather or to strip plants apart, or to smelt, to get the rock goop off of the actual ore, or whatever it is that you're doing. Next up is Smithy, Sanctuary, and Spy Network. So, Sanctuary. See, when I want to, I can actually be really efficient at processing stuff. It's just I love talking about this shit so much that I just when I'm alone, I tend to process stuff quickly. When I'm on stream like this, I'm specifically walking through the thought process of how this stuff works, so that you guys that are hanging out with me can get the jive of what this stuff is supposed to be about. So hopefully some of you guys are kind of excited. You can join my Discord server and playtest this stuff for your own campaign if you want, and I will provide you complete support if you want to start implementing these ideas. And then once the book publishes, depending on how involved you were in the testing, I'll give you credits. So cheers. A character that spends a bastion turn of downtime activity using the facility gains the benefit of a druidic charm. So we have druids here, y'all. That's awesome. And then orders to craft or empower magic items, right? So the Sanctuary doesn't do anything specifically. Let's look at the Smithy. Smithy. Facility benefits. When issuing a harvest order to acquire mineral materials, you can roll an additional bastion die equal to the rank of the facility. So +1 die to harvest minerals. So if we were to issue the harvest order with our settlement, right? If this had a settlement, we'd roll a second rank. We'd roll D20 +2. If the settlement was second rank, is what, and it would be, then it would be plus a D6. And the smithy is second rank. So if we were issuing like at a mining colony, if we're extracting ore, we would have the settlement issue the harvest order for the Electrum mine, for example, that's in Crag Falls. It's second rank. So second rank for the settlement, harvesting the materials. Second rank for the smithy, giving us an extra D6. And then the laboratory also giving us an extra D6. So when we make that check to harvest mineral from the nearby Electrum asteroid, we'll roll D20 +2 and 3D6. And we'll keep the best result of those 3 6-sided dice. So if I roll a 2, 3, and a 6, I'll add the 6 to the +2 and the D20. so we stay inside that accuracy, bounded accuracy curve of 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th rank at DC 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. By using just the best die, it's a type of advantage that we get to basically add together. I was talking about it earlier. If we wanted to do if we were 5th rank rolling D12s, we could do like a hope or fear sort of mechanic where we would roll whatever proficiency die it is that we would use to add to our D20 rolls. And if the hope die was higher, then we would do the thing that we expected to do. If fear was higher, we still get to do the thing that we expected to do, but now the DM has like a legendary action they can use or create a complication on top of it. Yeah, you do the thing, but this thing happens. You can do that yes, but thing over and over again. That's a very fast, easy way to use proficiency dice with the hope fear mechanic from Daggerheart and implement all that Daggerheart DM stuff with just this proficiency die system. So that's worth taking into consideration. Like, that's a thing you can do to bend the 5e game engine to play differently if you wanted to have a 5e Daggerheart game, for instance. You could play it that way. So the only time the monsters get to act is when you attack with fear. They would then like maybe get a reaction to attack you back, or use a legendary action to dodge, or like get a bonus saving throw, like to get a second save to try to get out of the effect that you hit them with, or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Fun stuff. Okay, so we don't have any dice that are adding to our lifestyle. We're 2nd rank, so we're going to roll a d20 plus 2 plus d6 to determine what type of lifestyle we're maintaining, and I get a, I rolled a 1 on the d6, a 9 on the d20, and a 2 on plus 2 bonus, that's a 12. So that is a poor lifestyle. So I'm going to maintain 1 point, and that gives me a pocket of 4 points for me to issue additional orders. I can only issue 1 order to each facility any given turn. So I can issue the Smithy 1 order, the Spy Network 1 order. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 6 facilities. At 2nd rank, I have 2 orders that I can issue. The lifestyle is for free. So lifestyle, we'll do sustain. Lifestyle equals poor. Result 12 equals 1st rank, and it's going to last for another D4 weeks, another 2 weeks. Two weeks remain. So next week I could issue, like, I have to sustain this order. So while I'm sustaining this order, I can't use this lifestyle roll. But if I wanted, I'm sustaining this with 1 point to have at least a poor lifestyle. But next Bastion turn, I could issue another order to lifestyle again to try to roll above that 12 to get into a better level of lifestyle. And if I can, I have the pocket budget to be able to spend more points to sustain that, and a 2nd rank settlement, a 2nd rank Bastion can sustain a lifestyle for a month. So once I set it up, I'll have it, like currently, the poor lifestyle is going to sustain itself for another 2 weeks. So that means I have 2 more Bastion turns to try to get at least poor or better result to refresh my dice to sustain that effect for another 4 weeks. If I can't roll above a lifestyle, it's going to cash out after, like I can't just refresh it. Like that's the lifestyle I'm stuck at. And I only have it for another 2 weeks. So I have 2 weeks to roll better than a poor lifestyle, comfortable, modest, comfortable, wealthy, and aristocratic, and then poor is a DC 10. So aristocratic's DC 30. So I have to get a better 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, somewhere in there. If I can roll 15 or better, I could then spend another Bastion point to lock in the comfortable or a modest lifestyle. And since I just upgraded the lifestyle, I can refresh and it can stay for another 4 weeks. So there you go. That's how that works. That leaves me a pocket of 4 points. I have 6 facilities. I have 2 extras. I have 2 extra orders that I can currently issue right now for free. and I can spend all 4 points, so I could technically have every one of these facilities performing orders if I wanted to, but I probably don't need to. Let's go with its main function is spy network. So we're definitely going to issue a spy network order, which is research equals let's see, drone scouting for, let's use the Oracle dice again to randomly roll what it is that we might be dealing with. Is this going to be, is this an internal affairs issue? There's a lot of social unrest going on right now because of the food shortage caused by the cold snap from the Frisia Manifest Zone that's killing the crops, reducing the amount of food available to the communities. They're really struggling on feeding everyone. There's a lot of civil unrest. This is all things that we rolled previously. So is the Corps actually acting as an internal police force right now to try to quell uprisings before there's civil unrest? That's a yes or no question. I rolled a 2 and a 6. So currently the Corps is being used to spy on its own citizens to make sure there's no weird rioting or anything that crops up. So drone scouting for, let's see, scouting for rival government factions from arising during food shortages. Basically to prevent riots. That's what it's being used for, but we'll see if there's a complication or not. It's a second rank facility. It's a second rank settlement. Capital Rock, where this spy network is located, is a third rank settlement, which means the DC to keep an eye on everything is 20. If I roll a 10 or a 15, I'm going to be limited in what type of plots I can discover. If there's a first rank, like a small faction, first rank faction that's trying to figure out how to do some tomfoolery, if I roll at least a 10, I can find that. But there might be a bigger conspiracy happening at third rank to actually overthrow Capital Rock with a new government. And if I can't roll a DC 30, my spy network's going to miss it. And it's going to catch me off guard if it happens. So I'm going to roll a D20. Plus D6, plus 2. To make our spy network go and see how high of a rank we can hit. If we don't roll at least a 10, we're going to have a complication. And it's going to be that it's generally when you're spying on somebody, you're discovered that you're spying and there's repercussions in the form of a complication. But we roll a 5 plus 2 for our rank is 7 plus 11. That's an 18. So we're able to find anything of second rank. There's no complications because we rolled above a 10. Let's see. Can discover any sabotage attempts within Castle Rock up to second rank. There you go. And now we have one more order that's available. Harvest order. To harvest checks. Are we going to lend? We can lend our order to help another bastion if we want to. So you can use your orders for yourself, or you can use your facilities to help another location. So are they using their lab and smithy and guild hall to help with harvesting, the smithy and laboratory to help with harvesting orders for, like, say, Crag Falls, which is extracting electrum? 2-3, answer is yes. So let's go down here. Our other order is harvest equals lending aid equals helping Crag Falls harvest Electrum. And since we're lending that order, we'll give them our D6. And on top of that, we have 2 facilities that give us extra dice. So we're going to roll 3d6. Basically, Crag Falls, the settlement, when it makes a Bastion check to see how successful it is at harvesting Electrum from the asteroid that they're mining it from, it's going to roll whatever dice it rolls. And because the core is helping, it's sending drones down into the asteroid to look for Electrum deposits to help the facility. So you're going to get the extra 3d6 dice that this facility has. So like Crag Falls, I think, gets 2d6s because it's second rank, and it's going to get 3d6 from here. It's going to roll 5 6-sided dice and keep the best result of that for its Electrum harvesting check this turn. And so we don't know if there's no complication. Because we're lending aid, so we don't actually, just like when you help another person with a help action, you basically give them advantage on their ability check, right? At the normal 5-foot scale in combat, or during adventuring. This is the same thing. We're not making our own die roll. Instead, we're giving them dice to improve, but it's still going to cost us an order to do it. So that is what we are doing with our. I'm sorry. The way I have to do that is I have to issue. Let's see. Lending. Sorry, I need to word that like this: lending aid, and then with Smithy, helping Crag Falls harvest Electrum. So that's going to be an extra D6 from them, and then lending aid, lab, equals helping Crag Falls harvest Electrum. So that's going to give those 2 dice to them. Sorry, we don't actually have a harvesting settlement here, so we can't do that. But we can take these facilities and give them to Crag Falls to use. So if they send us, like while they're extracting Electrum, if they send that Electrum to the core, we'll then be able to help you process materials to get a better harvest. Is how that is the actual accurate narrative for that. Sorry about that, guys. So we're going to reduce our pocket down to 3. And then bonus. And then here we'll go bonus order. Lending equals lending aid laboratory. Each facility can carry out 1 order. There you go. Okay, so this is how they're spending their actions. They have a good pocket of spare points available to them. They're probably going to want to try to expand their network to have more orders, because you can only order 1 issue at a time to the spy network. So they're going to want to expand their facilities to be able to issue more investigation orders at the same time, or research orders. Let's roll our Bastion event, and then we'll be done with it. So let's go back to our Bastion events. Let's see what interesting things are going on in the core right now. I rolled a 12. So there's a patron, possibly the same patron that visited Druid's Grove, asking. Boop, here we go. So this Castle Rock is basically asking the core to help them with the pirate problem. Can you help solve pirates? And they're asking the druids, can you help us solve the pirate problem? Maybe both of them will, and they combine their forces or act as rivals competing against each other to get the information that's necessary, perhaps. Because the druids would go about it a different way than the core will. So, but that fleshes out the unique facilities, like the really unusual facilities that are at Castle Rock, plus the actual capital itself, or the actual government building itself, which is the church to Dol Ara, which is called Dol Ara's Bastion. Dol Ara in Eberron is the goddess of, or rather the sovereign of sun and sacrifice. She represents wisdom in battle and is patron of those who seek justice, fight with honor, and make sacrifices for others. probably why this became the capital, because it's willing to make the hard choices to hurt itself to help the others. But that officially fleshes out all of our facilities. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and cut stream here. It's yeah, we've been at this for a good solid 3-ish hours, so I feel like I'm done. It's getting late here in Seattle for Phil, and I want to be up bright and early tomorrow to keep working on Eberron art. So I'm going to go ahead and cut stream here. And dude, Pitbull, bless you for hanging out with me tonight, dude. I appreciate it. And everyone else that's lurking, you are very welcome to check out my work, join my Discord server if you have questions, or like, subscribe, and get involved in conversations in the future. In the mornings, I talk about whatever. When I do game designs like this, obviously I'm on an ongoing, like I'm doing a diatribe here because I'm talking about specific mechanics and demonstrating how these things work for just demonstration purposes and for fun. But in the mornings when I'm doing artwork, I can literally talk about anything because I don't have to think about what I'm painting. In fact, the more you guys distract me with conversations, the better my artwork flows because I can enter that flow state as I forget about painting and I focus on whatever our conversation is. That allows the artwork just to do its own thing. And again, I've been doing this for 35 years, artwork. So, and I've been professional for about 25 or so. So I'm pretty good at it. So I enjoy the conversation while I'm painting, and I love doing it in the morning. I'm actually on Christmas leave tomorrow morning. So I may very well have like a 4-hour stream tomorrow morning. It'll start probably around 6:30 a.m. Seattle time. Mine is 8 UTC. I'm anticipating potentially spending 4 hours on stream tomorrow and then spending the rest of my day off, basically doing back-end Eberron Adventures stuff to help get that thing published faster. We have a bunch of... I'll talk about it tomorrow. You'll see what I'm talking about when we get into it. But yeah, that's it for now, guys. And thank you. I'll see you on the other side. Cheers.